on the game, emanating out of the beautiful Iron Jock Studios on the Flamethrower 1070 The Game. Madison, good morning. Wisconsin, good morning. Rhinelander, bundle up because it is a cold morning. Appleton and Oshkosh, the valley is waking up and the sun will be shining momentarily. But goodness gracious, until that happens, Armin Sarian, it is, I described it as bleep you cold this morning. And it's not that it is any colder than it has been at certain moments. It is not that it has been any different than it has been for the last week. But now it is compiling, and now it is allowing us all to know that winter is coming. November is almost here. And the Green Bay Packers return to Lambeau Field for nearly the first time in a month. And as the Badgers take a week off, it's a good time to realize that the seasons are changing, my friend, and we need to change with it.
They are, Billy. The seasons are changing, and the seasons of the year obviously are changing. And also, listen, seasons of life. See, now that we're doing the morning show, we are up earlier, right?
For sure.
Now, I'm sure that was amazing logic. You guys couldn't have figured it out. But yes, because we're doing the morning show, we're up earlier, and it tends to be colder. So it's also a change of season, a change of perspective. So two things happen at once for us. So not only that, we're walking outside. Like, it's still going to be 52 today as a high.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't
it's been colder when we've gotten up in the morning.
We're not around now for those type of day, the part of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
The part of the day we're up for is like right in the morning when I was like, oh, man, it is cold. And I'm out there getting gas this morning. Obviously, you know,
braving the elements,
braving the elements, all that stuff. And I was a little disappointed in myself. I was like, I hope it's actually that cold when I read the little temperature gauge in the car, because I don't want to be soft either.
I thought the same thing.
But thank goodness it was 38. I was like, all right, it is in the 30s. I'm not that soft yet.
You could have told me it was 18 this morning. Your boy was shivering on the way in.
So you're going to be quicker with that sunrise picture today? Is that what you're telling me, Billy?
In and out, potentially. And I'm going to be enjoying the space heater until it. We're going to warm you up this morning, and we're going to warm up the conversation. The fire is going to be hot. World Series heads back to Canada. And yes, Savage.
I'm getting colder.
You kidding me? The freezing cold were the bats of the LA Dodgers. Huh, that's a shame. That's a shame. 12 strikeouts, no walks. First pitcher in World Series history. Let that be 22-year-old Trey Yesavage last night against the LA Dodgers. The best lineup that money can buy gets sat down by a 22-year-old phenom in one of the best pitching performances that you're probably going to see. In a World Series game. Starts out about as good as you possibly could for the young man, because he gets 2 runs of run support to start. Didn't need anything more. 2 homers on the first 3.
Oh my gosh! First
pitches.
Davis
3
Schneider.
pitches.
Oh my gosh!
And Armin, for a Blue Jays offense that I believe went completely shut out for 9 consecutive innings on Monday night, when most people thought the World Series was won by the Dodgers to go up 2-1.
I did.
Their bats have awoken. The Dodgers' top 4 in their lineup go 1 for 15 last night. And they get 2 cracks at home to win this thing and celebrate with the Commissioner's Trophy in front of their fans. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty amazing. You know, you say a funny thing happened on the way to a repeat for the Dodgers is all of a sudden they couldn't hit. And no one expected this.
That's a shame.
Well, I shouldn't say no one. I mean, I think a lot of us probably didn't expect this when they went up 2-1. And, man, it's pretty amazing to see still against a great lineup, a high-powered, high-priced lineup, what a great pitcher can do if he's pitching well. And it's in I read some stuff about Yesavage's arm release and how he comes all the way from the top down like a jackhammer and everything. And sort of and sort of unorthodox arm slot and arm angle that you just don't see a lot. So that's the secret.
Yeah, if you're not used to it, it can be a real fickle one, and it was last night. No doubt.
When Miz came up, no one could touch him for a while, and then you start to get adjustments and stuff like that. But they didn't really have that time for that, So Yesavage comes in, and when the action's working down the way it was with the ball, it's pretty impressive to watch him work against a lineup that's really good. He made the mistake to Kike. We left one up, high fastball.
Yeah.
And then it was Blake Snell that all of a sudden, who looked unhittable against us. And that gets to my next point, unfortunately, who looked unhittable against us. First pitch, leaves it right up in the zone. Now they're getting fastballs. Boom. Right.
Goodness gracious.
What Vlad's doing is incredible. But I got to say this, Billy. I'm not usually one to say, well, it makes me feel better if the team we lost 2-1, or it makes me feel worse, or I cheer against, or vice versa. Usually if a team I cheer against is just based on how I feel about them in general. not because they beat us or lost. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
for sure.
I would have been more likely or in the same, just as likely to cheer against the Dodgers as I would have if we didn't even play them in the playoffs. But I never feel like this. But after seeing what the Dodgers did to us lineup wise, to our lineup and to neutralize our offense and how listless we looked, and to see what the Blue Jays are doing, I got to be honest, it kind of makes me feel like a chump a little bit as a Brewer fan. And I didn't think it would make me feel that way.
Fair.
I thought that, first of all, I thought the Blue Jays would win, and they haven't been. But I felt like, okay, I'm just going to experience the Dodgers win.
Mhm.
I'm going to experience the Dodgers winning. And I thought to myself, it'd be pretty cool if the Blue Jays won. I kind of want them to win. I like the story better. And I'm not really a Dodgers fan, obviously. But it really kind of makes me feel like a chump to see what the Blue Jays have been able to do against them. And not what the Brewers haven't been able to do. And I don't like that feeling, Billy.
Well, and the frustrating thing is, Armin, to the point that you're making, they're doing it in a way that is how the Brewers won a bunch of games. Now, granted, all right, they didn't hit a lot of back-to-back home runs to start games out.
Sure.
But the Blue Jays season was very similar to the way the Brewers was. They were the best singles hitting team in the American League. They led the American League in batting average. Now they do have the what's turning out to be maybe a generational superstar in Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Exactly.
They have a couple of guys who are incredibly high priced players who just albeit are later on in their young careers than maybe where some of the Brewers players are. I totally get where you're coming from, because the way to what you're saying is kind of how I view the Philadelphia Eagles when the Packers went there in the wild card round this past year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were ripe for the beating. Philadelphia wasn't awesome on that Sunday.
No way. The
Packers were brutal.
Within a score all game almost.
And they also were massively dinged up. Now the Brewers go up against the Dodger team that we would have thought just bludgeoned you to death. They did with 3 bombs by Ohtani in game 4.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you lose those games 3-1, 5-1. I mean, those are gettable games if you get anybody into scoring position and, not to sound like a broken record, play your own game. So I do agree where the way this plays out, if you would have just seen the Dodgers run through the Toronto Blue Jays, you could have very easily said, well, all right, best teams of all time is what it is. I mean, Armin, you watched a lot of teams get stymied and stopped by those 90s Bulls.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of teams run into the 90s Cowboys or the 80s Niners or the 60s Packers and the dynasty or the Chiefs of recent memory, the Warriors a few years ago. There were great teams that got built that just run into said freight train dynasty. But it does kind of throw a wrench into our plan for that narrative. If all of a sudden the Blue Jays win 3 straight after the Dodgers win maybe one of the craziest games of all time at home, and then out like a light the rest of the way.
Well, it's almost like after game 3, I don't want to say they felt like they won it overall, but they probably felt like, all right, it's over now. Like we won this toughest one. We took the wind out of their sails, and it sort of energized Toronto.
Hard to not think that they got a little sense of that. No doubt.
Hard to. And especially figuring like we're good. Like this crazy game, the only thing, like some wacky thing could have gone wrong and didn't. We won game 18 inning game 3, and we're good. We got Show going for game 4, and we got Blake. Sit back, relax, zip your jacket up, and watch this World Series happen. And it just didn't happen. And the big thing is they haven't scored runs. That's the big factor. Toronto's gotten their homers, which is always a recipe to having a chance in the playoffs. They've done it. They've gotten this crazy generational performance from Vlad Guerrero.
8 bombs in the postseason.
Which is one thing, like as good as Jackson played, we don't have that, right? So you talk about differences between this one team and the other.
Sure.
But it's about guys meeting the moment too, right? I mean, okay, Springer goes down. Boom, David Schneider, how are you? First pitch, I'm going to go. And they were you know what? I think they did a lot of what the Brewers tried to do strategic-wise against Snell, but it made it work. Hunting a fastball, trying to hunt him early.
Totally agree.
But they
just didn't miss it.
They just made it work. Right. So it's and then even, Kike got a homer, but that was it. The Dodgers couldn't build threats against the Savage. And that was kind of probably the more surprising thing about it. And like I said, Billy, I honestly can't say I ever feel better when we lose. Like the Brewers have lost to the World Series champion
a number of different times.
A number of times, and never made me feel better. But this kind of makes me feel worse just because they're scoring runs off the Dodgers. it's not like you said, we weren't getting blown out. The Brewers were not getting blown out. It felt that way because you weren't scoring at all and you weren't putting any pressure offensively on their pitching staff. Well, the Blue Jays have, and they did it at Dodger Stadium. So now they're coming home to Toronto, where it's going to be crazy at Rogers Center. I think they still call it that, right?
I think so.
And,
where they're going to have people hanging out in
yes.
those hotels that are now in the outfield.
My
Those
cousin's
are cool.
husband stayed there. He had to sign an agreement that he wouldn't have sex during the game.
'Cause they
And then
did
an
that.
hour before and then an hour afterwards, I want to say.
Yeah. So because that happened once. Or a couple
I would
times.
assume something
That
happened, yeah.
happened where the whole stadium could see these people. This was in the 90s, I'm pretty sure. I always wanted to. By the way, when they first.
Hold on. Okay, so they've had these hotel rooms longer than TikTok's been around, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because
they
that's
were
the
there
only
when they
time that
built it.
I've become privy to the information is once I saw the same 15 different Instagram accounts say, wouldn't this be the way you want to watch game one of the World Series? And like do the little view walk out onto the stadium or some random person eating a overpriced brunch sitting in the corner. Okay, so that's been around for quite some time.
It was. So let's
Let's get back to the having
stadium.
sex clause of, of the renting agreement.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
He was traveling by himself. So, I mean,
That would probably be worse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So according to
Easier to disguise, though.
Because this has happened a lot. This happened at 22. Fans at Blue Jays game busted for allegedly having sex and all that stuff. Yeah, this.
Well, you could
But
just
what
be
if the
you
curtains
could
are
just be an
closed?
athletics fan and just do it in the outfield in the seats out there. Wasn't that an athletics
Spencer-
fan?
Yeah, that was one of
I
those
think you're
games.
thinking of Spencer Rattler.
Oh yeah, something similar.
But so what if the curtains are closed, though?
You could, but I think the part of the thrill for these people was doing it to the
They're
public.
voyeurs, you know,
Yeah,
like
the-
they like to be seen.
Yeah, like it's the reason they have those balconies at the Cosmo, right? Isn't that the? I wouldn't know.
That's
Philly, the
I'm just
Sky Dome
saying.
opened in 1989. The 348 room hotel attached with 70 rooms overlooking the field. So it's the last North American Major League Stadium built to accommodate both football and baseball as well.
It was
Yeah.
super cool. I remember as a kid
That's
knowing
awesome.
that they had. I remember said when I get older, I want to go to a game and stay at the hotel and watch a game, like a Brewers game there. There was like a This Week in Baseball I used to
Should we
watch.
add this to Geezer Palooza?
This is part of it.
Make sure everyone has their passports ready?
Yeah, but in true Geezer Palooza like fashion, with like a bunch of dudes, we're just gonna have like 20 guys in one room renting the room. Like
That's fair.
You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's not gonna
What?
be.
Well, because we did look it up, and I was wondering with the pricing of World Series tickets, that would be the idea, and that would be the coup.
Sure.
Just get 15 of your closest friends
And just to get it go on and
there and hang out. They did have a 4-person limit into the room. I didn't see that. I
Makes
could
sense.
understand in the clause.
Makes sense.
I guess I don't read the fine print of enough hotel rooms that maybe I've been signing that I shouldn't be having sex with an hour in the front or the back of a different activity, and I have not been
I
reading
don't
the fine
know.
print.
All right, UPI Archives. I found an old article. All right,
Okay.
guys. May 18th, 1990. Fans distracted by sex during Blue Jays game.
Ah.
Toronto. Some baseball fans
I
think
would be too.
I
The
mean,
Toronto Blue-
well, it depends who's.
I would be too.
Yeah.
The Toronto Blue Jays retractable roof. Some think Sky Dome, this is when it was called Sky Dome, should be renamed Sex Dome. After fans, what a headline. what a writer. UPI, 1990. This is old school journalism. After fans watch a couple make love in a hotel suite that overlooks the playing field.
Love
Tuesday night during
or
the
lust?
team's 4-3 loss to the Mariners, those with binoculars
Uh-oh.
could see an older man and a buxom blonde woman having sex in their suite. Although the lights were off, the couple's room was illuminated by the bank of television lights in the Sky Dome. The incident Tuesday follows one several weeks ago where a male guest in the hotel built into the Sky Dome itself did something to himself in the window of his suite in front of thousands of Blue Jays fans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can do it by just because he was
Yeah.
by himself. He definitely still has to sign the waiver.
Yeah.
Definitely
Makes
still has
sense.
to sign the
So
waiver.
There's
That's-
probably there's some things underneath that,
Yeah.
no sex, no, yeah.
Other illegal, not
That's
legal,
interesting.
illicit activities. So anyway, this has been a thing ever since they opened it. How about that?
Wow.
I
That's
know.
awesome. Red Hot Tim Knott.
But yet it's still
sex,
there.
Can't have sex during the games. Me? Challenge accepted. That's what Barney Stinson would
Oh,
say.
you're cool, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Barney. Yeah, he would.
And probably would have.
Now,
if you watched
Here, me as a kid, I was just innocent. I was like, I'd love to watch a game there. I think it'd be pretty cool to watch a Brewers game. Blue Jays.
When
Brewers.
Luddy said it, that's why I had to bring it. I had to say it I had to utter the words myself. It had never crossed my mind that would be an issue.
No, it's facts. Yeah.
Wow.
And a recurring one for
That's bad. That's
low-
dumb on me.
low
Should have
these
thought
many
of that.
decades. Yeah, well, why not?
You think you can smoke in there?
Probably back when they opened it, you could. There's
Yeah,
probably,
probably when you can.
Can you crack the window?
Right.
no, you can't.
air it out?
I don't think you can. I don't think those are openable windows.
Hmm.
Pretty sure they're not.
Like Las Vegas hotels. That makes sense.
Yeah,
877-794-1973. John Rhinelander said, fellas, it's a balmy 26 degrees.
There we go.
And I still use my outdoor shower, preferred over the indoor one. And it is glorious, John.
I ain't doing all that.
Man, what?
Outdoor shower might be cool in the summer. I'm not. You tell me you're going outside right now naked in 28 degrees and taking a shower? You guys are crazy.
You're
Talk
not
about
doing that
shrinkage.
naked, are you?
How do you shower?
Well, I know, but it's an
Inside.
outdoor shower.
Oh, you're putting trunks on? You putting
I
swimming
would have
trunks?
thought it's like the shower before you get in the pool. No one's doing that one at the
I don't know.
YMCA.
I shower
Free as
naked.
a bird.
I don't know. You saying it's full disclosure hour? I mean, that's not that shocking to know I shower
Yeah,
naked.
I do like that this is the full disclosure
We're
hour
doing
at
that.
6 a.m. I think we're going to do that because this segment has gone a little bit more than full disclosure. And we're going to let Dolph know.
Got Dolph next. Yeah.
We're going to let Dolph know that this is the Hornets nest he's stepping into.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yes. He's got to be prepared for.
Maybe we should do
walking
that.
into no disclosure.
Dolph is next, obviously. Maybe we should do that also, third segment of the 6 hour every day. AMA, ask me anything. You can ask me anything. As long as it won't get me fired or my family in danger, in trouble.
We got the dump button.
We'll let you know if we can't do it.
Yeah.
Mike Singletary will tell you if we can't answer the question. 877-794-1973. That comes up after Scott Dolphin. I hope to be joined by Matt LePay later on today. Matt Miller going to join the conversation. And one of our favorites, Mike Clemens.
Yes.
One of
What
the
a lineup.
greatest radio friends in this business. One of the best people covering the Green Bay Packers for a long time. Joins us at 9 o'clock. We're off and running. You can join us at 877-794-1973. Andrew Ludwig's over there. That's Armin Sarian. I'm Billy Schmidt. It's the No BS Morning Show, waking up with you on the game.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game. Drew and KB on The Game.
We're talking with Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Packers. As the broadcaster, after having called Aaron's career and all the highlights of his career, and now he's the enemy, so to speak, and you've got Jordan Love under center. What was that like for you?
It was strange, KB. You know, it's funny because preparing during the week and then even at the game, you know, I'd look down on that Pittsburgh chart and have Aaron Rodgers at the top of it, and I'm thinking I'm looking at a Packers chart. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But it's a little strange, a little different. But, you know, we saw that with Favre when he left and went to the Vikings and came back and played the Packers 4 times. And so it wasn't that big an adjustment, but it was a little strange. And you know, to see Aaron out there playing for another team, it to me is personally, since I know him so well, it was a little disappointing in that regard. I always wanted to see him finish with the Packers.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search Drew and KB on the iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Daryl Hall to ask how the concept of his show Daryl's House made it to television.
You'd think that would be a simple idea to communicate to television, but it was absolutely impossible. So that's why I went on the internet in the beginning. And then I said, see, this is what I do. Here it is. And once you show it to people, then they go, okay, now we're going to put it on television.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Daryl Hall and all your favorite artists.
Classic Cuts.
Santana's Abraxas album reached number 1 in 1970, largely on the strength of Black Magic Woman, a song the group borrowed from Fleetwood Mac. Greg Rowley had to campaign for his group to do the song.
I picked that song out for the band to do, and it took me a while to convince everyone of it, and it became what it did. I've always liked it. I got it off of Fleetwood Mac, who was turned on to me by Mike Shreve. And once Carlos got into what he would do with it, and we decided to do it.
Got a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. I've got a black magic woman. Got me so blind I can't see. That she's a black magic woman. She's trying to make a devil out of me. Turn your back on me, baby.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1970.
In November, George Harrison's triple solo album goes to #1 in the US and the UK. The album yields a #1 single in My Sweet Lord. And TV sitcom The Partridge Family generates a #1 hit with I Think I Love You with vocals by newly minted teen idol David Cassidy.
I don't know what I'm up against. I don't know what it's all about. I got so much to think about. Hey, I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of. A love there is no cure for.
And Eric Clapton forms Derek and the Dominoes and releases an album including guest appearances by Dwayne Allman. The single Layla goes top 10 in the US and the UK.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up.
Classic Cuts.
Nobody has a perfect record in guessing which songs are going to click with the public. Eddie Money and his first label had a difference of opinion about which number to release as a single. Turns out they were both right.
It took me 6 months to write 2 Tickets to Paradise. When I went with Columbia Records, for some reason, they didn't think it was commercial enough. So me and my guitar player, Jimmy Lyon, we wrote Baby Hold On in 2 days. And that was the first single. And of course, 2 Tickets to Paradise was the second single.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags for me tonight? I've got 2 tickets to paradise. I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
Packers fans need to know that 95.7 Big FM is the new Milwaukee home for all of the Packers game day action.
The Packers are back home Sunday to play the Panthers. Pre-game show starts today with a noon kickoff from Lambeau.
When the Packers play, hear it all on 95.7 Big FM.
Did the Ernix score? The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound stock tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
They call him Clipper, faster than light. Is smarter than he, and we know Clipper lives in a
Welcome back to the program. Welcome in. It is No BS, the No BS Morning Show. It emanates out of the Iron Jack Studios. I'm Billy Schmidt. That is Armin Sarian. And now stepping in is our friend Scott Dolphin from FM 106.1, the phenomenal FM 106.1 Morning Show.
Wow.
The award-winning FM 106.1 Morning Show.
Does Billy owe me money?
Not yet.
Does
Not
he?
yet.
That'd be pretty funny. if he
Soon
did.
enough, though.
I'm gonna watch those.
Care to make it interesting with a couple bets this weekend, boys?
Yeah, depending upon how this weekend goes.
I'm gonna watch those. I'm gonna watch those Venmos transactions back and forth. See if you guys owe each other money.
Hey, it's
It drives me nuts. So not drives me nuts, but it drives me wild. Like makes me laugh when I see like people put Venmo stuff on Venmo. I'm like, this is public, right? Like
you're gonna hit private.
Isn't it weird that dude's charging his wife for coffee?
Well, that's a totally different conversation, Armin. But that is true.
Some couples have different bank accounts.
They have arrangements. I know everyone's got a different arrangement. Far be it for me to tell anyone how to live. I'm not.
But it is amusing that you can look and see who
Yeah.
did what for, what you paid for pizza with a friend and stuff like
I'll
that.
admit I don't care, but when it's a mutual friend, I have a friend. I'm not gonna name names. That always drives him nuts. He calls me and goes, "I can't believe he's charging her to buy it for the light bill this month and stuff like that."
But he's looking at your different friends' relationship Venmo requests and
Because
sends. That's awesome.
It's all on the Venmo friends, and a lot of it's unless you mark it as private. It's
Damn, I
public.
need to get in on this second screen viewing. I need to scroll Venmo a little bit more.
I think, Armin, it's like anything social media based, though, is we love to show everyone else what we're doing, what we're buying.
That's fair.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about that. And on the flip side, people love to be inside other people's business, right,
Yeah.
Billy? We've
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about that a lot. When you do the auto Google, when you Google somebody, you see what people are searching. It's always salary and wife. They want to be in your pocket or your
Really?
bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah. What does your wife look like, and how much money do you have?
People are so curious to see my wife because that's the first thing you type in when you type in Armin Sarian. Armin Sarian, the game,
wife?
Armin Sarian, wife. Oh, yeah. And hey, listen, I don't blame him. I mean, hey, I got a good looking wife.
Armin
so-
Sarian net worth is number 3.
Yeah. Net worth. You can figure that out.
Shows
quick.
up to a penny.
All you need is all you need is 3 figures.
Have you noticed now, if you've Googled yourself, have you noticed now AI will give you a very descriptive read about yourself?
Well, maybe for famous people like you, Dolph, but not me.
Go to ChatGPT and put your name in there, Armin, and see what
Armin
it says.
Sarian AI mode. Let's try. Okay,
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
He's
that's
a
phenomenal.
Milwaukee-based radio personality, producer, and sports broadcaster, known for his work at the radio station 97 through the game, the Packers Radio Network.
Hey.
Let's go.
See, now I do like that. As you're spot on. The second one does pop up as Armin Sarian wife. But the funniest thing is three of the top 10 pictures are you and Shanna.
I know.
It may or may not have
that's-
misconstrued as. Oh no, this was the Friends podcast.
and that's where the internet can get it wrong sometimes.
Sure.
You know?
Oh, that's
So,
phenomenal.
yeah, I'm not married to her.
It's hilarious.
No, definitely
right,
not.
that's the-
Definitely
that's
not married
the-
to Shanna
the
at
story
this
there.
moment.
Yeah, but if you're famous like Dolph, I mean, I can only imagine what's on the internet.
Oh, no.
you know?
I'm pretty low key.
Well, you are. That's true. But they'll try and
Yeah,
find something on you, you know?
Yeah, what's on there for me is probably from a bio that was written 20 years ago.
All right, you guys ready for buying?
Yeah.
It's a picture. All right, so it is. He's a native of Franklin, Wisconsin, bachelor's degree in special education from UWM. Said that I was a special education teacher. Talks about my career in athletics, but there's a couple pictures of me mixed in there is the Andy Ludwig, the former Badgers offensive coordinator.
That's awesome.
Yes. I love that.
But yeah, I'll
Scott,
take it.
Scott Dolphin career highlights. Dolphin's been a staple of Milwaukee's country music team for over 30 years. He's been
Staple.
nominated for and won multiple Country Music Association awards.
That's true.
Yeah, that a boy. All
I
right.
can't even tell you how many
All they did
nominations.
was just take my bio from NAU and put it on.
Instead, Bill
ChatGPT.
Schmidt is way cooler. There's a guy that made and designed the Halo, which is a sleeping guard for babies, and that's the first one that pops
Oh,
up with Bill
yeah.
Schmidt.
Well, common name.
Not
Yeah,
you?
good one. No, and this
Oh.
guy's way better than me.
Oh, man.
You kidding me? This guy's contributing to society.
Would have been awesome if you invented that and we didn't know about it. You were just chilling, working radio. Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you would not be seeing me at this early on a lot of different Fridays. I can tell you that much.
There's a handful of Scott Dolphins out there. In fact, one is a designer in New York City. He does a lot. He's kind of famous in NYC.
That's
for
phenomenal.
interior design. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's
I like
go.
that.
We were talking about the interior design of the Rogers Center and the different hotel offerings over there.
Yeah.
Now, I was about to date years old when I found out that those things have been first off around Dolph for like 35 years.
I know where you're going with this. Strangely, I remember what are you talking about the infamous
Yes.
World Series honeymoon couple up there in the center field window?
How am I the only person that didn't know this was a thing?
Oh my God, it was a big thing back in the day.
The Luddy just dropped it on me that like, oh yeah, my
yeah.
buddy stayed there and they say they couldn't have sex during the game. And I'm like, geez, maybe I am just too old and too domesticated dad at this exact moment. That was like the last thing I was thinking about.
Maybe it wasn't during the World Series, but it was.
Well, I found an article from a
We
May,
found like 6 different articles about
May
it.
1990 game. Fans distracted by sex during Blue Jays game. Another dude was
I looked it up on
pleasuring
TikTok.
himself.
There was a story that happened about 4 or 5 years ago again at it.
Oh, they're still doing it.
So good Lord, people are still trying to get after it.
Daryl and Deerfield
Man.
said this. He did stay there. He said the window's open, but the rates go way up on game day. Well, of course they do. That's just like if you go to the barrel yard and you have dinner on a non-game day. It's
Yeah.
different than having there on a World
Yeah.
Series game.
What-
If you're,
How cool is it though? You can stay in a
Super
hotel
cool.
and watch the game.
when I was a kid, I always wanted to do it. You know, I never did yet, but I always wanted to do it because I remember watching a This Week in Baseball thing in '92, and the Brewers put up 22 runs against the Blue Jays. So I taped it and reran it all the time. And a little,
Oh, you had to watch that.
yeah,
shit
the little
all
Mel
the
Allen
time.
segment, and there was a
All the
brewer, there was a
time.
brewer, there were Brewers fans in one of the suites in Brewers jerseys and Cheeseheads, which was the first time I ever saw Cheesehead, like 92, 93 is when
Wow,
they
really?
actually was a brewer,
Okay.
was at a Brewers thing, and then the Packers fans started at Lambeau
Yeah.
Field, and
Yeah.
and then the rest is history.
Formation.
Formation's the
Right?
company,
St.
yeah.
Francis out of
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah, we were joking. My wife and I were talking about that. Our 2-year-old would be in heaven because it would combine his 2 favorite things. The hotel is his favorite part of all the vacations.
That's so awesome.
Sure.
The hotel room's the coolest part, right?
Yeah, and the pool.
And spot on.
That's part of it, right?
Spot on.
Yeah.
We go to Disney World and it's like, no, I don't want to leave. There's Mickey Mouse on this TV and there's a pool right there. Mom, I am not leaving. She had never been so brokenhearted. So I'm like, we could go on vacation. He never even has to leave
No.
and gets to look at the baseball field, walk right back over here. Now that's money well spent.
Just think, you could go to the Hampton Inn by the
Yeah,
airport. You don't
Super
have to-
8.
Yeah.
He thinks he's at Disney.
All right.
No,
Here's
he's
the
gonna
big trip.
figure it
You're
out.
going to
It's-
Disney?
that it's not Disney.
I don't know. He might not.
Where do you want to go? I want to go to Red Roof Inn. Let's go. Let's go.
Motel 6, Dad.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's great. That's good.
When I picked the right neighborhood with the Motel 6.
When I played junior college baseball, we stayed only at Red. They must have had a deal with Red Roof Inn. So we always stayed at the Red Roof Inn.
Awesome.
We'd fill the tub up with ice and spend our per diem on PBR.
Is that's amazing.
That's awesome.
First of all, you had a per diem. That's super cool.
Oh yeah, I think it was $21 a day. So it was a Happy Meal and a.
Now that you say that, I think we stayed at a Red Roof Inn out near Grinnell, Iowa.
Hey, Grinnell.
Yeah.
Shout out
not too
Grinnell.
many. There can't be too many hotels in Grinnell.
There weren't many. I
have never been
nice
to
trip.
Grinnell. Well, I remember
Long
this
trip.
though. Growing up in Iowa, Grinnell was like, if not the most expensive, one of the most expensive colleges in the country.
Oh,
back
I can
then.
believe
Really?
it. Yeah, I can believe it.
Okay.
I don't know why they're so expensive in a small town in Iowa, but they were.
Their spot is glorious. I mean, it is a phenomenal looking campus. Very small, nice grass field. But there's those different liberal arts schools in this Midwest area. There's a number of them that find themselves on that list. Of like the Wash U, Lake Forest, I think is generally on that list.
Big time,
a lot.
big time, and that makes
schools.
sense.
Yeah.
The thing remember about Grinnell several years ago is they were in basketball. They were putting up like 170, 180 a game.
That was that kid from Wisconsin that scored 100 because he shot a bunch of threes and stuff. Yeah, they had that.
funny.
They had that unique style where they leave one guy back and only shoot
Yeah.
threes. It was a crazy thing.
They played in the Midwest Conference that the Carroll Pioneers used to be a part of.
Yeah.
And called a couple of games when I was early in my broadcasting career that both teams ended up in the triple digits. Funniest part about that squad was their head coach was like 75, 80 years old. I'm going to
really
forget my
young
man's
guy. He
name.
wasn't a young guy, right?
No.
Yeah.
And he was straight chilling. Like his grandson was just on his lap during the third quarter. He's just like, whatever, dude. We're running up and down. Our kids are good. We're going to be okay.
That was their strategy. So, and I think that's the hotel, the Toronto Marriott City Center, where the Dodgers stay in. Actually,
stadium
when they go, yeah. So I would imagine they're not staying at a Red Roof Inn when they travel back to Toronto for Game 6. On the brink now, Dolph.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe, but I mean this kid, Traylor Savage. I don't know. You couldn't write a better Hollywood script for this guy. In April, he's in low A.
Yeah.
And then he goes to high A, and then he's in double A, all in the same season. He threw 3 regular season games in September. That was it. That was his major league career. And now he's thrown 5 incredible post-game performances.
And to do it against this lineup, Armin and I were talking about it, like how defeated it makes you as a Brewers fan to watch how easily the Dodger line or pitching staff is getting hit in big moments by the Blue Jays. And they're kind of also doing it, Dolph, the same way the Brewers have played all year long. And I mean, we said it where both teams led their respective leagues in singles and batting average. Only problem is they had their best player hit 8 home runs in this postseason.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Yeah, and you're right. They're doing a lot of Brewer type things, though. Bloop and a blast, that type of thing, and getting on base. That's what they do best, obviously. And it showed again last night. This game never really felt close. Even when it was 2-0, I'm thinking they're not going to hit this kid.
No, and it's kind of been the common refrain of the postseason, right? It was Cam Schlittler. Am I pronouncing his name correctly?
That's right. Yep.
In Game 3 of the wild card round, Mizorowski was that for the Crew. Now I watched Trey Savage last night, and I say, man, 22-year-old kid was pitching in low A on the road.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like he couldn't start the game. If you want to do a little second guessing, that was one where I watched that performance last night and say, man, maybe you don't get too cute and you just let the kid go out and have a moment. Who knows if Mizorowski would have been able to go for one of those different clips.
In this era where we do get too cute, especially with young kids, with pitch counts and everything. But that story last night, I didn't realize that he had made that meteoric rise all in 1 year. Came out of East Carolina.
That's crazy.
I don't know,
It really shows you what you can do if against a team that hasn't been able to really look at you, see you,
that's a good point,
and scout you, because he's got a unique arm angle where it's. I was reading something about it, very high arm angle, the arm slot, and it's just unusual to see a guy come down like that with the ball, I guess. And I would suspect that Savage throughout his career will have times where he struggles when teams start to pick it up a little bit and scout it. But when he can't do it and they haven't looked at him, it just shows you what you can do.
Big time. And that being said, I fully expect this still to go 7 games. I mean, is Yamamoto, who's pitching?
Yeah, I believe Yamamoto is pitching in Game 6 on Friday night, and then Game 7 they kind of said all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Snell said that he would be a part. It'll be Gausman against Yamamoto for Game 6.
Ooh, that's a good matchup.
Really, really good. And then I would wonder if I don't think he's going to be penciled in to potentially be the Game 7 starter if need be.
Right.
you got to think Ohtani's going to be a part of that pitching plan for Game 7.
Yeah.
He's absolutely available in a Game 7. There's no doubt, even if it's an inning.
He wasn't horrible the other night, even though he got tagged with
Mm-mm.
the L. I mean, he made a couple mistakes. But yeah, if it's Game 7, you can rest for several months.
Or what they should do is once again give us what we want. Game 7, World Series 2025. Max Scherzer against Clayton Kershaw.
Well, the Unk Bowl. What do they call Unk Bowl? This is like the Unk Super Bowl, I guess.
And
Right?
then they do a reemergence and a redo of the old graphic where they're like, we thought we were gonna get these two all-star flamethrowers of Kevin Gausman going up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and instead we get these two guys I don't necessarily know of, Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer.
Hilarious.
As Andy Johnson, who was supposed to be on the other side of that one? Two other Hall of Famers, and like, yeah, we got these two
Smoltz,
scrubs over here. Yes,
Smoltz.
yeah,
was it?
Smoltz.
I'm
Yeah,
blanking. I think it might have been, but that's just hilarious. You never know what you're watching. Sometimes you're watching future greatness, and that
True.
sense, that's what it was.
According to my CBS Sports app, if necessary, Game 7 would be Tyler Glasnow against,
That makes sense.
against
That
Max
makes
Scherzer.
sense.
come on, give us
All
what we
hands on
want.
deck. Imagine being Blake Snell after giving up 2 homers in the first and telling Dave, I'm ready to go. And just in case, we might not want you to go.
Yeah, actually, Blake, appreciate
Thanks,
it, brother.
Thanks,
Thank
Blake.
you.
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Just,
we
I think those
appreciate
bags
those
under his eyes are bad now. Wait till he wakes up this morning.
That's true. He's kind of a weird looking guy. I didn't want to go there, but yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Bucks in action tonight. Golden State Warriors in town. We were saying
Always
yesterday,
exciting. Yeah.
this is the game, Dolph, that if you're going to go to and you're going to bring the kids, you make sure you get there as early as possible, because I don't believe there's any better sports viewing euphoria than watching Steph Curry go through pregame warmups.
It's amazing.
It's incredible to witness.
Especially the way traffic's been around here lately with this interchange stuff. I don't know if you guys have been following any of it.
Are you talking about the new thing that started widening
Construction.
to
Yeah.
4 lanes now? Are you talking about that?
My wife took an hour to get home yesterday. Not that I was upset. I just felt bad for her.
It's bad.
Well, no, I'm just saying. So you might as well leave now for the for Fiserv if you're
You
going
throwing
to
a
go.
party?
No, I'm not. I didn't mean to make it about that. My point is, it's going to be busy early downtown. Get there early, leave early because traffic's bad.
Well, and there's not a freeway that's not under construction right now. Everything is.
That's what I'm
getting worked
saying.
on.
It's crazy.
It's bad downtown. The big issue is going to be come April when they're widening 90. They're widening 94 to 4 lanes around Miller Park Way. That area, it's going to be nuts trying to get to a Brewers game.
The problem is my little secret weapon of Forest Home is
Ain't
even
gonna
worse than the freeway.
because they're still working on
Too. Yeah, that's
working on
tore up.
Forest Home. They've been
Both
tearing up
sides are
Forest Home
ripped
for
up.
years.
One lane.
And Highway 100's been under construction since the first Bush administration.
Ryan Road allegedly might be reopening. We'll see, or
now-
it's going to be closed for winter. We'll
Now,
find
you
out.
guys, see, I'm the bad guy with the blue collar guy. All right. But I see all these construction sites. Let's go. Let's go here.
Hey,
all right.
hey, to get to the
Get 'em
ballpark,
rolling, yeah.
I'm up in the morning.
Beloit Road is a nice option. Takes you
Beloit's
really
good.
close to
Yes.
Miller Parkway.
Beloit's good. That's another option.
See,
I
the
take
problem
that.
is then I always go by Mad Rooster and then I got to stop in and have an omelet. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's not a bad
good
Well, the
spot.
great thing about that restaurant is you get breakfast and then you have enough for lunch and dinner too.
Yes, amen to that.
Huge.
Amen to that.
Huge.
Loomis still works well in terms of where you're trying to go and things like that.
Although, yeah, Loomis is
Still my king.
was under construction forever too, and
now
it's-
that's done. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that decade-long construction.
Well,
project
you're
is
right.
finally
I
over.
mean, it's.
I
you
feel
know
like
what?
that's where you first started coming in here griping
I
about
did.
blue collar
I
workers,
did. I
which was a
complained about
great word.
Loomis. I
people in
complained
Madison
about
and
it.
Rhineland right now going, shut the hell
They
up.
are. This was
You
really.
guys ever seen the Beltline?
This was terrible strategy.
Lay that on the table and tell me about some traffic problems.
I got 3 speeding tickets on the Beltline when I worked in Madison.
Jeez,
3
Dolph.
You're
in
right.
a year.
You driving?
Oh my!
Wow, I mean,
Batmobile?
My apologies to our friends in Rhinelander. Right, you're absolutely right. Terrible strategy by me.
I mean,
to
Highway
talk about it.
45 gets a little crazy sometimes. and
Sure.
17 through Rhinelander up to Eagle River. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
but not really. No.
when
Dolph.
you're driving.
Always appreciate it,
All
brother.
right, boys.
Thanks for the time, man. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
There he is, Scott Dolphin, FM 1061, hanging out with us here on the No BS Morning Show. Armin Sarian's coined it and asked me anything end of the 6 o'clock hour.
Sure, yeah.
You can fire those in at 877-794-1973. We got an update on the quarterback availability for the Carolina Panthers. All of that as we get ready for the Packers and Panthers in the first home game for the green and gold in nearly a month. We're off and running here today on the game.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment. Don't miss DND middays here on the game.
You can't go back in time, but when the hiring happened, it was universally hailed as a coup. Wisconsin got a coup. They got the best coach available. They got the best coach who wasn't even available. They got the best coach in the country. He was the AP National Coach of the Year, the reigning AP National Coach of the Year. He had just gotten Cincinnati from a group of 5 conference into the college football playoff before it had expanded. It's easy now to go back on it and say it was a mistake. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But at the time is the only time that you can make that decision. We don't live in a world where you can go back in Marty McFly's DeLorean and go back and change things. That's not how the time continuum works. But what you can do is change the course of history moving forward, however that may be. It's easy to go back and say, you know what, that decision should have been different and you screwed that up. But when the whole world is telling you that it's the right decision and that it's a home run, that it's a grand slam, that anyone else would do it, I just can't get on board with people saying that McIntosh should be hammered for hiring him in the first place.
DND with Doug, Nick, and Dave. Middays here on the game.
Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In June of 77, Ram Jam have a top 20 U.S. hit single with the cover of Lead Belly's song Black Betty. Chicago area rock band Styx have a U.S. top 10 album, Grand Illusion, including the top 10 single Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
In July of 77, the Grateful Dead veered towards progressive rock, adding strings, horn, and a choir on their 9th studio album, Terrapin Station.
In the whistling screaming, Terrapin.
In August of 77, the King dies. Elvis Presley is found dead in his home in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. Detroit rock vocalist Iggy Pop releases his second solo album, Lust for Life. It's his second collaboration with David Bowie. New York's Billy Joel releases his 5th album, The Stranger. It goes to number 2 in the U.S., with the single Just the Way You Are rising to number 3.
I want you just the way you are.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1974.
For the band on the run. Band on the run.
In January of 1974, the top-selling album of the year is released, Paul McCartney and Wings' Band on the Run. Bob Dylan, backed by the band, has his first #1 album with Planet Waves. In February, Jersey City's Kool and the Gang have a top 5 hit with Jungle Boogie. New York City's Kiss released their debut, which sells 75,000 copies without a hit single. In March of 74, Canadian band Rush released their debut album, Get a New Drummer, and go on their first U.S. tour. David Essex has the first of many top 10 hits in the UK and his only U.S. hit with the single Rock On, which goes to number 5. And Steely Dan hit the top 5 with the single Ricky Don't Lose That Number and have a top 10 album too with Pretzel Logic.
Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you want. You might use it if you feel better when you get home.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1974. Coming up. Bring it.
What? On your mark, ready, set, let's go.
All right, Armin, we've got the answer to one of the hottest questions around as the Green Bay Packers get ready to take on the Carolina Panthers this weekend at Lambeau. Haven't been at Lambeau since the middle of October. It took on Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals. Packers are going to be rocking and wearing the all-new 1933 throwback jerseys this weekend.
Now, the difference with our 1933 jerseys and the Pittsburgh Steelers 1933 jerseys are two main things. Ours actually look good. All right. They are much better looking. And 2, we were the Green Bay Packers in 1933. The Pittsburgh Steelers were not. They were the Pittsburgh Pirates, football Pirates. So that's a big difference right there. So I'm kind of excited for these throwbacks.
Any Acme Packers still at that time?
Maybe
That
they
they
were,
still
but
considered, or-
they were still the Green Bay
No.
Packers.
They phased that out pretty quickly. Indian packing, Acme packing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it's pretty interesting. We haven't gone standard uniforms in like 2-3. It'll be 2 weeks in a row we haven't gone standard. Is this a thing that's going to upset people? Because I know some people don't like this. They say we're chasing trends with these throwbacks.
Well,
and
you
things
don't like this.
Well,
I like that you say some people, and
Hey.
it's you people. It's you.
I enjoyed the winter warning last week because it made it an easier watch against the Yellows.
That made it nice. But
Yeah.
no, I think the real question that many people were wondering is, how are they going to get the sweet hand-painted design of the helmet onto Romeo Doubs and Savion Williams Guardian caps? They
question.
posted out a picture of it yesterday. It might actually look cooler on the Guardian cap than it does on the helmet. The helmet is phenomenal. I got a chance to see it in person when they debuted all of the different gear at the Packers Pro Shop. And Krista Jorgensen was kind enough to walk over to our spot on the perch during training camp and bring some of the gear and show us. And she had the helmet, and it is one of the most phenomenal pieces of artwork. And it really is. It's hand-painted artwork on each one of these helmets.
Amazing.
But then they had to get it on the cloth and print it out onto this beautiful Guardian cap. And I'm telling you, Armin, that double bubble looks legit that Romeo Doubs is rocking.
Yeah, it kind of does. And they've done a great job with these uniforms, a great job with these helmets. But you're right, the Guardian cap does kind of look cool. And it's just, the cloth, they kind of stretch over the thing. And I like it. Now, the one thing I always make sure with the Guardian cap is we got that thing tucked on all the way under. Because I think it was Savion, and
it pops up a little
it
bit.
pops
Yeah,
up a little
it rolls
bit.
up a little bit. Yeah.
And then you just look like the old lineman for the Niners in the 90s that had the shell,
The double shell on the head
on top,
Yeah.
which I thought was always an interesting look. And I always thought that was a weapon, like in a lot of ways. I'm like, man, if you can wear the extra shell, why wouldn't you let people know I got more weight, I got more actual, contact tonnage here?
That would be a dangerous thing for Tucker Kraft or Cam Scatterbo
You
to
kidding
be
me?
have.
How are you supposed to tackle Tucker Kraft anyway when he starts violently weaponizing his offhand, like you said he loved doing? But no, it's pretty cool, Billy, and I like it. I like the uniform setup. I think it's a good look. I prefer it more than the Powerball ones that we used to wear.
Big
right?
time.
I didn't
Big
really
time.
love the Powerball ones, but I'm trying to think now. I think we've gone through every era of throwback at one point now and worn them, except for the ones in the 80s with the G on the sleeve. And that's the last and final one. I know we've talked with Nags about it in terms of throwbacks. That's like the last and final one the Packers have got to wear in terms of throwbacks. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know what else we have left at that point, except for the small variations of what we wore.
I was going to say like the smallest little difference of like 3 stripes
and-
instead of 2, or the thickness of the stripes would be 1. I think the G on the sleeve, I've said for a long time, should be reinstituted. It shouldn't be a throwback.
It's
it
not
should
bad.
just
It's
be
not
put
bad.
back onto the jersey.
Yeah, it's not bad looking at all. I mean, the other thing about those uniforms is they had the number on the pants very small in a little circle. So, it's not a bad
For somebody
looking
that talks about the
jersey.
TV numbers to Wayne Larrivee every single time he comes on, I know you love the fact that the pants would have the number on it too.
Yeah, now they're not big enough for him to see, but for some people, I mean, why not? And look, let's make it easier for the equipment guys. All right, for our
eyes in the pants, that's an interesting deal.
Well, yeah, that's true. Let's make it easier for the equipment guys, though. You know what I mean? They when they're doing the laundry, it's easier to associate uniform pants. with
That's fair.
jersey.
Yeah, Packers put out a cool video yesterday of all the different players unboxing the helmet, getting a look at it in their 1923 throwback, and then asked them all what the price of gas was in 1923. Some of the responses were quite funny.
Well, they had gas, but not really. There were barely cars.
I think that was the joke.
Oh, cool. That's
oh.
Well, cars did exist.
They existed. Yeah,
but
it
they
was like
weren't-
25 cents a gallon. Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, could have been a lot.
I would like to know who also is, fact checking this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we just go back on this date in history in 1943. Now, if Casey Kasem's telling me, then I'll believe it. All right. If I would have gotten it straight from the long distance connection mount, then I would believe it. But I don't necessarily know that any of these nonsense is real.
Speaking of Casey Kasem, the top song in 1923 was Parade of Wooden Soldiers.
Let's go.
I checked the iHeart system. We don't have it.
No, we don't have that one. No, it's a banger though, from what I've heard. Now, the interesting thing is, I don't know if these uniforms have TV numbers. Am I mistaken? Do we have shoulder numbers on these?
No.
I don't think they do. But hey, I did like the video. There was a lot of great, our guys are smart. Edgerrin Cooper saying most famous athlete Babe Ruth. Like, our guys know their history. Our guys know game. Our guys know ball.
Yeah, they're in it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Somebody else that knows ball is Carly Ursay. I don't know if you've been following along on this Colts story that has rolled through. Now, they're right now the most explosive offense in all of football.
Yeah, they're just absolutely
highest scoring offensive football,
killing people, and unexpectedly too.
Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, both finding themselves into conversations of MVP. Now, the Ursay daughters have taken over the controlling stake of the Indianapolis Colts after the passing, sadly, of Jim Irsay. They announced earlier today that they have made a decision to sell a majority of the Jim Irsay collection at auction. This dude's collection of guitars and all memorabilia is like the craziest museum of dude life you'd ever find.
Wow, I can only imagine.
Anything that was cool to Jim Irsay, he just bought.
Yeah.
And then just had and then told stories about it.
Yeah.
So they've got a crazy amount of stuff that they're going to end up selling and then giving a significant amount of money, it looks like, to charity. He said it's time for the next stewards of Jim's collection who understand and appreciate the significance of each artifact. A portion of the proceeds from the auction will be donated to charity. And the videos early on of the season of her being on the sidelines, listening into the headset, charting down and having the facial reaction to whatever the play was being called in. Interesting enough, Armin, when you win, I haven't heard anybody complain about her getting herself involved into the football operations. Nor have I heard much credit for Carly Ursay.
Well, that's funny, and I agree with you. Now, the second part is I've heard some people scoff at the credit she's getting. Like, some people are like, oh, everyone's giving her credit now just because these guys are playing well, like she's some sort of mastermind. I'm like, you never know. She might be making a huge difference in there. I'm not saying she's Allie Parker, from draft day. I don't know if you know that reference.
I kind of know what you're talking about with Jennifer Gardner in that spot. But I would say the bigger part of it is, and listen, I don't think she has anything to do with any X's and O's. I do know that when you study the psychology of human beings, when you know the boss is around, just a tick more dialed in.
You're absolutely right, Billy. That's a great point.
Now, Luddy's been on a lot of different coaching headsets, and a Sunday in the NFL is much different. And all due respect to the years in Wisconsin high school football and the WIAC, doesn't hit like Lucas Oil Stadium. No. So I don't know how many random interactions and thoughts and conversations they're having on a coaching headset. But Luddy, there's a lot of random stuff that gets said onto that headset. And I just wonder if that's also being discussed now that the boss is listening to everything.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's toned down a good bit. The amount of yelling is probably down a bit. Coaches.
Maybe.
We'll see. But I'm curious as what she does with the follow-up after a game to figure out what she was watching and how she can correct it. And it's interesting that they're doing this, but I don't know how much in-game she's actually learning.
Right. I don't know. Well, here's the thing, though. Learning is the question. And I think that she's probably learning a bunch.
You're not wrong.
She's learning a ton. To say that she was walking in telling people how to do their jobs, I don't believe that was the case.
I hope
but
not.
I like the fact that you can sit back, listen, and just monitor and understand. And also, I like the fact that it's kind of working. And we talk less about this one than Tom Brady sitting in the booth. Guess what? Their team's ass.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd rather talk about the owner that's actually maybe contributing to winning.
There's a lot of good points there, Billy.
877-794-1973. No BS back after this.
97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
The Stanley Cup has resided in the United States since 1994. Major League Baseball's Commissioner's Trophy is one game away from living in Canada. Last night, Game 5 of the World Series didn't take long to see how the night was going to go.
First pitch of the game, driven in the air, left field. That one's back at the wall. Gone! Davis Snyder on the first pitch of the game blasts one over the left field wall, and the Blue Jays have taken a 1-0 lead.
How about that? And this place is stunned.
Play-by-play courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Blue Jays beat the Dodgers 6-1 to take a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 is back in Toronto tomorrow night. And on the hardwood, the Badgers opened up the Kohl Center portion of their schedule last night with an exhibition win over Platteville 69-53. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
I'm Jason Flom, founding board member of the Innocence Project. My new podcast is Wrongful Conviction, available on iHeartRadio. On Wrongful Conviction, I interview a different exoneree every week and help them to tell their incredible stories of tragedy and triumph against impossible odds. You've got to hear it to believe it. Wrongful Conviction from iHeart Studios, available now on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Steve Miller Band songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Take the Money and Run.
Bobby Sue, took the money and run. Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run.
Number 2, Rockin' Me.
I know that it's true that all the things that I do will come back to me in my sweet time. So keep on rocking me, baby. Keep on rocking me, baby.
Number 1, The Joker.
I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run.
Hear more from the Steve Miller Band and similar artists now. Search for Steve Miller Band on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio.
Here are the top Queen songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, We Are the Champions.
We are the champions.
Number 2, We Will Rock You.
You got mud on your face, big disgrace. Somebody better put your bag into your place. We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you.
Number 1, Another One Bites the Dust.
Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
Hear more from Queen and similar artists now. Search for Queen on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1914. Babe Ruth makes his MLB debut, pitching a 4-3 Boston Red Sox win over the Cleveland Naps at Fenway Park. This week in 1934, Carl Hubble strikes out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin in succession. But the American League comes back to win the All-Star Game 9-7 at the Polo Grounds. Staying in baseball, this week in 1955, St. Louis's Stan Musial hit Frank Sullivan's first pitch of the 12th inning for a home run to give the National League All-Star team a 6-5 victory over the American League at Milwaukee's County Stadium. The American League had led 5-0 after 6 innings. This week in 1972, Robert Irsay buys the stock of the LA Rams for $19 million and swaps the franchise for the Baltimore Colts. The players and coaches are not affected. This week in 1999, Team USA wins the Women's World Cup over China in sudden death. The Americans win 5-4 in penalty kicks, with defender Brandy Chastain kicking the game winner.
Play ball!
And this week in 2010, Brian McCann's 3-run double in the 7th inning provided the National League all the offense it needed to capture its first Midsummer Classic since 1996 with a 3-1 victory.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
Listen to us live 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app and watch our shows each weekday on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We are The Game.
Mr. Koufax, the fact is you kidnapped this child. Not only shouldn't you get custody, but since you obtained the child by defrauding the state of New York, you should be in jail. Bailiff, please remand him until I can figure out the punishment.
Your Honor, I think you can't take him away. As that boy's father, I refuse to press charges. Okay. Corinne, I'm sorry. Just 6 years ago, Joe Carter,
Joe Carter?
Toronto and the Phillies, World Series. And Mitch Williams, we flew up for the night. There was a girl.
Oh, God.
I'm an idiot. I was so hammered. Chicken wings and Molson 3-0. Canadian beers like moonshine.
Hell yeah.
Sonny, you remember, right? It was at that Toronto Hooters. Oh, yeah.
Back to Toronto goes the World Series as the Blue Jays win a pair against the Dodgers in Lipstick City. And Friday night, Halloween night, the freaks might be out, but a World Series trophy may be awarded in Toronto. Hour 2 of the No BS Morning Show is up with you. That's Armin Sarr, and I'm Billy Schmidt.
What's up, Billy? It'd be interesting to see if for Halloween the Dodgers might dress up again as the best team in baseball. I'm not really sure. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. This has been a shocking development in Chavez Ravine the last 2 days, no doubt. But, excuse me, I think it's interesting to point out, obviously, that there have been plenty of times in history teams had great moments, gone up 3-2, haven't been able to go to finish it. So we'll see. We'll still see what's going to happen. I'm not saying this is the right time to take the Dodgers in the series market, but it might not be a terrible investment. It's the first time you're going to get plus money on it. So we will see what happens here. I think the Jays kind of want to win this in Game 6 now.
Absolutely. You want to try to finish this thing as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Because if they don't, I think you're going to be in like, okay, is that our chance, Game 7? However, it is nice to be home for them to be home for both of these games because obviously, having 2 shots in front of your home crowd is good. I have a feeling this one's going to go 7, Billy. But I could be wrong. We'll see. The Jays have been shocking us before.
Well, it's also hard to predict anybody touching Yamamoto lately.
Yeah, he's been really good.
He has delivered 2 of the best postseason starts in the last 15 years in his last 2 postseason starts.
Oh, yeah. And you have to figure that this Dodgers team is going to start hitting at some point here. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the Jays pitching. We talked about Savage.
Mm-hmm.
What a
Tremendous
savage he
name.
was.
Tremendous
name. And they have other guys, obviously how but you just expect this Dodgers lineup to start hitting at some point, especially especially Shohei to come up big. So we'll see what happens here in Game 6. But it's become, I think, Billy, a more exciting and interesting series than any of us thought we were going to be walking into.
Oh, for sure.
And that has been good as a baseball fan. But as I said in the first hour, it has made me feel a little bit more like a chump as a Brewers fan.
Yeah, and I
didn't
don't
expect to feel that way.
I don't want you to feel that way.
Appreciate
I don't think
you.
you should feel that way. I do feel maybe the Brewers should look at it with a little bit of hindsight saying, damn, did we miss an opportunity? I mean, because it is a different beast when you're looking at a Dodgers team that over the last, one of their intrepid reporters put out the list of runs scored for the Dodgers in all of their playoff games. And outside of the 18-inning game where they score 6 to win 6-5, I think the most they've put up is 5 runs a couple of different times against the Brewers. Like, they have been rather pedestrian offensively for a team that is as dominant as they have been all year long. It's wild to see them, shrinking in a big moment takes too much credit away from what the Blue Jays did. But, we did kind of the same thing with the Brewers and saying that they kind of shrunk in the moment and also gave some credit to Los Angeles. You got to be able to, your best players need to have their best performances for you to win in the postseason. Sadly, that's been, I think, the reason why the Brewers have exited unceremoniously over the last 5, 6, 7 years. You can go down the list of different years and point to a number of them. And Christian Yelich obviously gets the most direct shots at it, Armin. But I think there's a lot of different blame to go around. Like this year, if you just looked at 22, you're excluding 5 different players that were stalwarts of your lineup all year long.
Yes.
Just like if you're going to say, man, if you're a Dodgers fan, Mookie Betts, come on, dude. Are you serious? Well, 1 of 15 was the entire top 4 of their lineup last night. It wasn't just him. However, I think he's the one that's drawing the most angst from Dodgers fans. Right
Yeah,
now.
he is. And he's obviously had an uneven year. You know, I hate to put it in such simplistic terms, but it's true, Billy. You need your guys to be playing their best. You need your guys to meet the moment. And that's the reason the Blue Jays are in the position they're in, because the star of stars for them, Vlad Guerrero, has gone absolutely nuclear on the baseball. He's been white hot. He's been every bit of the money that they spent on him worth it. And I'll say he's the main reason the Blue Jays are in this position right now. Obviously, they have other guys stepping up as well. They have guys that can hit for power up and down the lineup, but he's the reason right now. And obviously, that's what it takes to win at this level, against a team as talented as the Dodgers are. So we'll have to see. It would behoove Betts to get it going a little bit.
That would probably help LA.
Yeah,
that would probably help
will.
LA.
But they need some of that, no doubt.
6 runs on 9 hits last night for the Toronto Blue Jays, and Trey Savage with one of the most savage performances in postseason lore.
No doubt.
No pun pun intended. Pun directly intended.
Intended. Why not?
Dude, he struck out 12 Dodgers yesterday. Now, this also comes on the heels of maybe he listens to this show. Maybe he watches us on YouTube.
I think he's watching.
Maybe he's subscribed. Like you should be on YouTube if you're there. Like Dan in Wausau said, as a Brewers fan, go Jays. No doubt about it. And go subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're watching this on right now. Buddy.
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook as well. And you can also.
I can't help but remember during the parlay of the day yesterday.
Okay, come on now.
We were talking about Trey Savage.
We were.
And different opportunities for him to strike out Dodgers.
Yeah. What was the number? 4.5.
I believe the number was 4.5, and I believe the response from Armin was, I don't know. I don't look at this Dodgers lineup and see a whole lot of strikeouts. Every single Dodger struck out to you, Savage.
All of them did. Well, what the hell do I know? What do I know? I mean, you Savage just put him up and put him down. I guess there's a whole lineup of Ronnie Belliards that he can just strike out anytime he wants. Jose Hernandez strike out anytime he wants.
Shockingly enough, the responses to a couple of things I sent into the DMs yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
There were no response. Buster Olney of the mothership, Trey Savage on the verge of a rookie record in Ks in a World Series outing.
I took the L. I'm not gonna lie. I took the L.
Your boy Don
I'm
Newcomb.
Sorry. Oh, Don Newcomb, great pitcher for the
had held the
Dodgers.
record of 11 in 1949.
Yeah, they were in Brooklyn. They were still in Flatbush.
Relevant.
I don't know what to say other than, I'm sorry. I thought 4.5 was too big of a number. What's that term? Scared money don't make money. Everyone loves it. LaFleur said it. Wayne even asked him about it on Packers Preview.
Yes, he did. I loved it.
He told Wayne, well, that's a common term. I don't
So
that.
good.
Scared money lost money last night. I was scared of the 4.5 strikeout prop. I'm like, there's no way this kid can strike out 4
Did
Dodgers.
this get you Savage? Are you kidding me?
I'm taking the L. It's right there on my face. You can put it on my face. You can put it right there. I take the L. Yeah, I was wrong. He tripled that number. Now, if you could have got the adjusted plus number on 12, they didn't offer it. Can you imagine if you would have got over 11.5?
I think the highest they offered is 7.5.
We would have been.
And I'm not.
We could have
mistaken. But I believe that was it.
We could have bought lunch for the next month here. I mean, that would have been great.
I mean, restarted the radio station.
Could have restarted everything.
It's pretty impressive. You think about it this way: the odds shark posted a screen grab of the Dodgers box score through 5 innings. It was like Trey Savage just struck out every Dodger in the lineup through 5 innings.
Yeah,
he was unhittable last night, and to watch somebody just dominate a lineup that features 1, 2, 3, at least Hall of Famers in it. And I say at least because when you think of contributions to the game,
sure,
and the amount of wins in postseason play, people are going to remember your boy Kike Hernandez a long time. He's not going into the Cooperstown for it, but he's played in as many playoff games as any human being in baseball history.
He's been a really good player for them. I mean, he won't be a Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
But he's a guy that has been in this moment so many different times. Will Smith is a phenomenal player.
They have so many
perennial all-star player.
Yeah.
They were just sitting them down last night.
Sitting them down. And, they looked like the Brewers looked like against Yamamoto and against Blake Snell the first time, where they just had no chance up there to touch him. And the ball was doing things they didn't expect. We talk about the arm slot, the way the movement was going down on these guys. I mean, he left the one up to Kike. He got a high fastball and he took it out, and that was it. But man, what an impressive performance by the youngster. Reminded me, like I said, Billy, when Mizorowski first came up and no one could have a scout on him. No one had seen him yet, and they weren't able to adjust. And sometimes you get the advantage on surprising a guy like that. And impressive stuff. 319 on the NicolayLaw.com talking text line. By the way, you can still text in. It's wide open.
Hit us up right there. Yes.
Hit us up. You can call in as well if you got something to say, if you want to talk about something, but you can text in. By the way, the AMA hour is still open.
I was going to say, I wanted to bring that up because you posted it on your X feed, where you can also find the video stream, and said, I'm pleased to announce that I've decided to keep the AMA window open for the 7 o'clock hour. Interesting.
I'm going to keep the AMA window open. So ask me anything as long as it's not going to put us in danger. I'll try to answer.
Armin, can I do the first one?
Yeah, let's step up to the plate, Letty. I'm glad somebody's doing it. Yes.
What is your true actual height? 5 foot what?
My true actual height? Are you talking about shoes off? Because I'm wearing the Brooks now.
Okay.
All right. That gives me a little bit of height. All right.
It gives you a little float. Yeah.
Shoes off.
Are you lifting or just height?
I don't lift. I don't lift.
Okay.
Not like
just
in
height.
Seinfeld. You mean
No,
Mickey?
yeah, we don't need
Mickey?
lifting.
No,
Yeah.
I don't lift. No, my true height, honestly, is 5'9".
Okay.
I'm telling you, now you have to put the hair a certain way because I got this hair and stuff like that. So that's my true height right there. True height. So I'm going to say this one. Yeah. So all right, I want to get Iowa's comment in, though, about the Blue Jays, because I didn't want to let this pass. The Toronto Blue Jays are this year's Indiana Pacers of last year. Not the best team in baseball, but are tough enough to make noise. I kind of agree. However, the Pacers were the 5 seed last year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay. The Jays were winning the East all year. I mean, they were in first place in the East all year. They dominated that division.
They were the best. They had the best record in the American League.
But one thing you can say is that their run differential wasn't as good as the Yankees, but that lasts for so long. I like to use that debate, but they were the best. They were probably, they were up there with the best teams in the American League, right? Would you say they're the best at some point?
I think they were for a majority of the year. And the other part about the counter to that is, I mean, there's a reason why we're going back for game 6 and 7. Right. There's a reason why they got home field advantage, and it's not because the American League won the All-Star game this year. You win it just based on your record, and they were a 94 win outfit, if I'm not mistaken, 95 win team. That's a really good team. To that texture's point, though, I would have more compared the Seattle Mariners to maybe the Indiana Pacers of the year. Right.
It's a good one.
The one player that everybody was talking about towards the end of the year. Indiana obviously had Tyrese, and Cal was who everybody was talking about, but he was the talk of Major League Baseball all year long.
Yeah.
So it might not be a great fit. But to the Pacers' point, the series has kind of felt similar to how the NBA Finals went, right? Where if you were going to win the series and you were going to upset it, similar to how we talked about the Brewers, you had to go and steal game 1. You had to be able to find that ball hitting Bryce Terang's shin.
Yeah.
Or the ball gets to the backstop, you play 2 runs, win game 1, and it's on from there. That's how Indiana wins, right? They go in, win game 1, establish that this stuff is not going to go down so smoothly. Even after your boy did tweet out during the first quarter and got put on Old Takes Exposed for the first time in my life.
Yeah, that was a big moment for you.
When I said, Indiana getting routed by 20 every quarter.
Give me this. Yeah.
Give me 4 games of this.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good. But
Give
I was
me
with
4
you in that
games of this, and then
moment.
Tyrese Halliburton hits a game winner and egg all over the face. But like, you got to steal one, you got to surprise, and I think that's what the onslaught offensively was for the Blue Jays in game 1 against the Dodgers, where I think they win, what was that, 7-8-9-1. They just blitz them and announce, hey, this is not going to go down so smoothly. And you respond a number of different ways, similarly to how the Pacers did in that series.
The other comparison I'd make, and I'm going to have a rare moment of credit to Tyrese Halliburton here, which is not a thing I do a lot. You need your best players to come up big, as you said, and he did. I mean, so he's sort of like the Vlad Guerrero, where every time they needed it and he's their guy, he's done it. Just like Tyrese did. Every time they needed him, he was hitting buzzer beaters and stuff like that. He was having that ridiculous run of, buzzer beater last second shot. So
that's probably the best part of the comparison. You're right there.
It's the worst part for me because I don't like giving credit to Tyrese.
100%. Yes, it's got to be the hardest part for you to swallow.
That's what he did. I mean, that's the reality is they needed him to be everything he was, and he was them for them at one point. This is an interesting one, Billy. I know you love the broadcasting discussion from Ryan and Muskego. Morning, boys. Only got to see a couple innings of the game last night. Is it me, Or is the Fox broadcast extremely boring? Smoltz sounds like a crabby, boring old man. The TBS broadcast with BA for NLCS at least had juice volume. The Fox team is a snoozer. I do say this. I do miss Joe Buck on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Buck doing World Series games, it felt like something special. I don't miss Tim McCarver. I never liked Tim McCarver that much when he was doing
the
it.
same with me on that one.
I never liked him, but it did feel like the World Series. So I'm not, a lot of my Smoltz opinion, Billy, is biased about the way he was ripping on us in 18 for doing the whole the lineup flipping thing.
Yeah,
and all
sure.
That. I do think he's a good broadcaster, but I do miss Joe Buck.
Yeah, I miss Buck. I love Davis. I think Joe Davis has a really, really good big game voice. Now, granted, you have to call enough big games for people to always associate with it, but I could see where Ryan, you said Texter, is
Ryan Muskego.
I also think it's got to be somewhat difficult, and I'm making an excuse for the broadcaster here. Man, Joe Buck calls Dodgers games.
Right. He knows the team well.
Yeah.
He calls Dodgers games. He's their television voice. So when they're getting lined up and sat down by a 22-year-old phenom, I'm not totally surprised, even though you do rise to the occasion and you call it as well as you do. Like there's a, wow, I haven't seen this all year long. I think there's probably a little bit of pause there as well. I think he's also cushioning himself so you don't think, oh my God, he's the LA Dodgers broadcaster.
Yeah, there's probably a similar
overcompensating in there. Maybe.
Exactly. It's a similar deal with us having BA. It's a weird existence probably for other fan bases to hear BA in such detail talk about what the Brewers did well all year and things like that. Because you know how we get around here, around these hind parts. We get really upset about broadcasters and national media versus local media. And are we getting national love? And these guys hate us. It was the same situation with Ron Darling, all playoffs. We heard about it.
Yes.
And I'm sure, that's a very you-centric thing. Like our world revolves around us, just like in other fan bases, their world revolves around them. And they feel probably like BA. I'm sure people were like, BA is a Brewer fan and this and that. So it's a really weird situation. I would agree with you there. I do remember my favorite broadcast unit for a World Series was in my youth in '97 when NBC had the World Series, Billy. And it was Costas. You say what you want about Bob Costas doing baseball. I agree now. But I think he was a little bit better then. But it was
25, 30 years ago, and he was Bob Costas.
Right. And doing a lot of stuff as NBC, of course. But I thought the production was good. But I thought it was cool when you had Bob Costas, Joe Morgan, and Bob Uecker doing
that's a great
run.
one.
When Bob was the third guy, and Bob would add that little humor. It was such a different existence of seeing Bob doing third guy on TV versus what his regular radio stuff was, because Bob did his Bob Uecker thing, but he also a lot more serious about the baseball analysis during that time, but he could add in his little Bob Uecker stuff. But he wasn't just hamming it up the whole time like you might expect Bob Uecker to do. It was like he was very, it was a very serious baseball analysis. He was great playing off those guys, and you didn't hear him as much because he was the third guy. So that was one that I always remember that was my favorite, and we still think about Bob all the time. So when he said that, I thought about Bob at '97 doing that. It was a lot of fun to watch.
That'll always bring a smile to the face, and to that point, the ones that I wish I could have seen or enjoyed was Bob with Al Michaels.
Yeah.
Because Al is one of my favorite broadcasters of all time.
Yeah.
And he has admitted and said it a number of different times, he's better doing baseball. That baseball might be his best sport. Now he can't do it anymore because he hasn't done it in 35 years. But to hear Bob and Al and then Howard Cosell try to go in there and, be truculent.
Oh, truculent.
That would have been awesome. Yeah. You let me borrow your truck.
Right.
It's a truculent.
And Bob hated how serious Howard was all the time, and would have liked to.
Well, and from what I've learned, Al Michaels and Howard Cosell did not always see eye to eye.
That was true of Howard with a lot of guys.
Not sound like Howard Cosell was the easiest to get along with.
I remember reading his book, because he had like a biography, and it was like $1 at a rummage sale. And I remember my dad saying, "You want to be a sports broadcaster? Read this book." Howard Cosell. I was like, "Yeah, And I remember the whole last 2 chapters of his book, I think he wrote in like the 80s, outlined how he was right about everything. Every controversy that he ever had, everything that people debated him on. He goes, let's be honest. History's shown I was right.
He just rifles off a manifesto of being right at the end.
But he was a classic. He obviously had his benchmark in the industry. And you can't really debate that. But the other thing that I remember is, Billy, I'm watching the world. This is the Marlins World Series, This is Council '97. And I remember watching it. I was 13. And I was watching my dad, and he goes, Armin. Bob Uecker's on TV. He's Armin. There's Bob Uecker. The Brewers finally made the World Series. Emotional damage. But my daddy thought that was the funniest joke, and it was true.
Oh, that is awesome.
He's like, here you go. This is the closest we're getting. Bucher's doing the World Series.
Danny and Appleton, the
right.
broadcast team is so boring, and I am so sick of blah, 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 Ohtani, blah, 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 Ohtani. We get it. He's a great player, but they just never shut up about him. I think I will pick up the Blue Jays radio cast on Sirius XM, Janie and Appleton. Janie, that's a great call.
Yeah.
Great decision. I believe it's Dan Schulman.
Oh, doing Blue Jays radio?
On the Blue Jays radio call.
Schulman's awesome.
And it is an electric factory. You will want to listen to that. You will want to try to find that on Sirius XM, because as somebody that, no, I'm also a radio nerd. That's how I enjoy watching standalone football games. That is definitely how I'll be enjoying the game coming up tomorrow night.
He's calling it, and his son's calling it. Is this right? Am I reading this right? Dan Schulman and his Ben are working together. What does
I believe
Ben
his
do?
son is maybe stats. I don't know that his son is on the air.
Okay.
I could be
Dan
wrong.
does TV for Canada, and Ben does the lead. Ben's the lead radio voice. Is the Blue Jays?
There you go.
Wow, man! All these sons of great broadcasters becoming great makes a lot of sense. Actually,
It kind of makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
It kind of makes a lot of sense. 877-794-1973. It's no BS on the game.
Miss an hour of No BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app. Drew and KB are talking sports and stuff every weekday from 2 to 6.
Christian Watson's return to the field for the Green Bay Packers, obviously a huge story, and it's a huge story here in Drew and KB land because it means that we get to say hi to Christian's mom, Krista Lynn, our returning champion. What was it like for Wisconsin's favorite sports mom to watch her son return to the field after 9 months of grueling rehab and isolation and self-doubts, and to see him just frolic on the field like he was never hurt?
I'm going to be really honest. For the first time in my mom career, I was very nervous and anxious, and I'm not really that kind of a person often, but there was just so much leading up to this. And I mean, even after I talked to him on the phone yesterday, I called him before they were leaving the hotel and to head over to the city. And I was like, how are you going to get through knocking the cobwebs off? I mean, that's really what it is. There's literally nothing like an actual game or a game time situation that you can simulate. You know what I mean? With other guys coming at you at full speed, they want to hurt you. They want to take you out. How are you going to get through that? And he was like, just being really honest, Mom, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to do me.
I mean, that's fantastic. It doesn't matter. You would have that same conversation with him if he was in Pop Warner football and as a professional. That's just mom stuff, and that's great.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search Drew and KB on the iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
I'm Josh Holloway. The national parks have always been a part of my life, but years of underfunding, pollution, and climate change have taken their toll. Join me and the National Parks Conservation Association in ensuring our national parks are available for future generations. For more, visit preservetheparks.com.
Classic Cuts.
There's more to rock and roll than just selling albums and making money. It's about having fun and getting pumped up singing and playing. John Fogerty of Creedence Clearwater Revival explains why he likes Fortunate Son so much.
I mean, it's a really cool rock and roll song. It's fun to sing. It's fun for the band to play. I mean, it all really works as rock and roll the same way, let's say, Jailhouse Rock works, or I Want to Hold Your Hand, or I Get Knocked Down, but I Get Up Again. It was something simple that's fun to do is what makes good rock and roll.
It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no Senator song. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. Some folks are born silver spoon in hand.
No. Second and 10. Rodgers quick throw left side. Got his man caught. Ball loose on the ground. Packers say they have it. I believe that was Austin on the catch. Ball came loose. Question is, was it a catch? Javon Bullard gathered it in. And it's Green Bay football. And there is your dagger.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1972.
We were singing bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee like the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die.
1972, Don McLean goes to number 1 with the single and album American Pie. Paul Simon's solo debut gives him a top 10 hit, Mother and Child Reunion. Fast forward to March, where Neil Young has a number 1 album and a number 1 single with Heart of Gold. And Deep Purple released their quintessential album Machine Head, which goes to number 1 in the UK, number 7 in the US, and features the classic hit Smoke on the Water.
Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. Smoke on the water.
Also in March, the band America releases their debut album. It goes to number 1 and yields a number 1 single with Horse with No Name.
See, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1972. Coming up.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast. We'll call them C-3POs. New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's.
So make them drinks strong, 'cause brother, she's gone. And if I'm ever gonna move on, I'ma need some whiskey glasses, 'cause I don't wanna see the truth. She's probably making out on the couch.
Morning, Wisconsin. Morning, Rhinelander and Madison, Appleton, Oshkosh. Waking up with us on the score. It's no BS. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt, 877-794-1973. Bill in Iron River, one of our returning champions, hitting us up on the talking text line, responding to our friend Janie, who was saying that she's going to try to find the Blue Jays radio cast on Sirius XM coming up for Friday night because she's sick and tired of hearing about this Ohtani guy.
Yes.
I heard from that also a couple individuals were saying that last night at the Milwaukee Admirals game. Good win by the Ads.
Yeah, great win last night. I saw you were there hosting, Billy, doing your work last night. I love that. I'll be doing some games coming up.
A Hocktoberfest celebration.
I love Oktoberfest. You got to wear the hat and everything.
Your boy was, I'm going to be completely honest, looking like an absolute jack.
No,
like,
but that was great, though. That was hilarious.
There was a moment in time, and I'm going to get to Bill's text here in one second.
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
It was a good one. Sorry, Bill. I apologize. But there was a moment in time where, you're right, it was, there's a nice little, what would that be called? An apron?
Lederhosen?
A Lederhosen?
Lederhosen.
An apron looking like a Lederhosen.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It also had female accoutrements and all.
Oh. Well, they got you the wrong one. Aren't you not supposed to wear that?
That was the one I selected.
Oh,
user error. That's my choice. So I rocked that one. And then I had a sweet hat on. Your boy's not really a big hat guy.
Yeah, but that hat's electric, though.
Phenomenal look.
That hat's with the
Felt
feather.
So cool.
With the feather in it and stuff like that.
Then they bring out the the little glasses with all different Oktoberfest celebrations. Your boy can't not have one of those on.
You got to have it. Yeah.
So I'm standing here looking like a full jackwagon.
Yeah. That's okay.
And I'm standing right by the glass. They're playing the Chicago Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
The hated but never feared Chicago Wolves.
Beat them up last night.
And 4-1. Good win.
I like that. Free Frosties, yeah.
I'm standing
Frosty
there on the glass, and there's a face-off going on right in front of me. And I kind of uncomfortably lock eyes with one of the Wolves players as there's a little moment where
they're waiting for the face-off.
Start on the face-off. Both boys, skate around a little bit. Everyone shakes around the cobwebs. And my man looks up and sees me sitting there with toy glasses with a sausage right in the middle of my eyes. You can't make this kind of stuff up. It says Oktoberfest and a sausage on a fork on my face.
Oh my gosh.
With a female apron of a lederhosen on. And I just realized, like, that guy has grinded his entire career to play professional hockey. Walking in here, 3 games in, he goes, and this guy is who I see.
This is what it is.
This is pro sports. This guy right here.
And you realize you're also
down for that cat. Wow. What a letdown. He was going through a personal moment of realization, like, this is not what I thought I was signing up for.
At least, you know what, though, Billy? You could have flipped it around and said, you know what? All my years studying, working, and broadcasting to culminate to this moment where I'm wearing a sausage on my face.
Where I had a sausage on my face.
It's a bit worse.
And female breasts on a apron lederhosen.
What size?
This is why the
At least
they're German.
The lederhosen I was asking about.
Oh,
yeah.
This is the
probably a medium because it was tight. Your boy, it was definitely a snug look on your boy, because I probably also should have taken my hoodie off. Didn't.
Oh, no. That's
so
okay.
I mean, I was very shrink wrap sausage in this thing. And my man just looks up, ready in the face-off circle, just underway. He's like, wow. This is what I worked my entire life for? To play in front of this guy?
Oh man,
Are you serious? This is where I'm at. I might retire. Like I could see all of this going through his mind in a good 3.5 second span.
Good reminder: Admirals hockey is back. So coming out to Milwaukee.
You never know what you're going to see, and we had a phenomenal time last night. We had 3 individuals doing a sauerkraut eating contest.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, disgusting.
And I believe it was my man Thomas.
These guys really put their heart and soul into it. Let's be honest.
He was not going to be denied.
Yeah.
Sadly, he lost because Justin Muskego came storming back. And I think maybe he did not fully finish as much sauerkraut as possible. But my man was sitting here for the last like 10, 15, 20 seconds of it.
Yeah.
An uncomfortably long time, Armin, putting in and out of his mouth the same pieces of sauerkraut because he was just battling. He was holding it. He was holding it in. It was
easy, bro.
It was an impressive night. It was an impressive night at the Milwaukee Admirals game. Phenomenal dub, more importantly. And if you want to listen to some Milwaukee Admirals hockey, our friends on Fox Sports 920, you can hear every single game of our friend Aaron Sims. Electrifying call right there.
Yeah, Billy, I know we're doing some hosting some games in the future, so come out to some games if you want to hear extension of this show on the in-house mic. That's basically what it is. And one of these days, they're going to bring back 90s nights, because I do feel 3 years ago when we hosted 90s night, it was one of the most electric moments.
That was pretty.
I had the belt pack, I had everything going on, but hey, I don't know.
I still have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air baseball jersey.
Dude, that was amazing. I feel like that's going to be Carson's one day when he goes to the college party. You know what I mean? That's Carson's going to be rocking that thing. I don't know why. I just feel like it. You know,
he's going to be playing any kind of random song. I love college, and also walking down the stairs in that.
Just like, oh man.
Do you think parachute pants are also going to make the return back in by the time he's getting into that point?
You hope not. I kind of like them, Luddy. I mean, you don't like
tell
that?
me why you like them.
Well, first of all, they're comfortable.
Okay, I've never worn them. They just look ridiculous.
They do look ridiculous, but they're comfortable, right? Okay. Form follows function. And I don't know. I think your boy looks kind of fly in those things.
I would definitely be a fan of the parachute pants. Anything comfort over fashion, I am all about. Now, granted, I also do dress like Adam Sandler.
That's okay. Do you play basketball like him too? No. He's always out there on the streets in like Queens and Brooklyn.
I'm generally sweaty like him because he is coming from any basketball game imaginable.
NickLealAw.com talking text line only. Phil, good morning from the Score in Appleton. What up, Appleton?
What's happening in Appleton?
Speaking of great radio personalities, have you guys heard of the No BS show out of Milwaukee? Those 2 dudes are first ballot Hall of Fame locks. Radio like champion today, boys. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that, man.
I'm going to have to check out their show. I appreciate that.
Listen, you can make me the Mitch Richmond of the Hall of Fame, but if you call me, I don't care if you call me last. I got the call. Karl Malone, right? I got the call.
You're going to Karl Malone or Christian Laettner, that bad boy, every single night.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? That would be some amazing stuff, right?
So, I did want to get my friend, our friend Bill and I in Rivers texting because he said, "Good morning once again, Billy and Armin."
Oh. Not me.
Not you. Sorry, Luddy.
We wish
I'll turn my mic off. You're
good,
Bill.
Wish Luddy a good morning too.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't need a good morning. He's doing okay.
Well, he doesn't need to be wished it because he's already having it.
He probably already had it before he got in here today. I listened to the Blue Jays radio broadcast. Dan Schulman and Chris LaRue are on the air. They're on-air voices. They're terrific. They're not afraid to give credit to the other team, much like Brewers broadcasters. As usual, thoroughly enjoying your radio program today. Bill in Iron River. Bill, who we always appreciate your interaction. And I appreciate folks doing what I love to do. And that's tap around on different radio calls.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're getting into this moment, they're at home. The nerdiest broadcaster part of me is they know every way of manipulating the crowd mic to have that place be sounding like an absolute rock show coming up on Friday night. And if indeed the Blue Jays can spice it up and fire the crowd up early, that place is going to be 3 hours
Yes.
of eardrum blowing out sound that they're going to generate in that Rogers Center, because it's going to be a madhouse.
It's going to be nuts. I mean, if you remember, if you remember the World Series back in the 90s when they were there, it was always a loud environment. The Joe Carter home run obviously is famous. The environment there is big, and the crowd energy should be big. That's not saying that the obviously the Dodgers are good enough. We know they're amazing talent to come back off the mat and make this thing, a 7-game series and try and win the thing still. But I like to think that if there's a home field advantage, it's going to be there in Toronto. There's no
You would
doubt.
think.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Tim and Racine, guys, I hope the Blue Jays stomp the Dodgers on Friday night. Robert said, I hope we win 4 more games and really ruin baseball. Hey, Roberts, guess what? The Blue Jays are going to ruin your Christmas.
I mean, I would like it too.
Take that, Dave.
I've been rooting for the Blue Jays, but I can't help but feeling, even though I wanted the Blue Jays to win, I was like, I'd prefer them to win. I can't help but feeling, and I've been saying it all show, Billy, how much of a chump I feel like today seeing them get hits off this Dodgers.
I don't like that. I don't want you to feel like that.
Feel
You
bad.
shouldn't feel like that. You're not the one that went over in the NLCS like Andrew Vaughn.
No, but Billy, I feel
you didn't hit
kindred-
067 in the NLCS like Christian Yelich.
I didn't, but I'm a wee guy with my teams. I feel a kindred spirit. I support, so I feel like I'm in the fight with them. I like to think I'm not part of the team, but I don't want to be one of those guys that kicks my guys when they're down. I mean, I try and feel like I support, so I do take it to heart a little bit. I don't want that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It wasn't me, but man, it would have been nice if we could have done some of these things again.
It makes you realize that they were more gettable than the Brewers made them up here. And the Brewers, for as good as Blake Snell was against the Crew, he's been nice. He's been good. He hasn't been dominating like he was in that game 1 outing against the Crew. And I wonder how much of it, Armin, was the Brewers allowed him to settle in by just not being able to foul off anything or change a little bit of their approach. Last night, Vlad and Schneider ambush him on 2 fastballs in his first 3 pitches. Other than that, Snell did settle down quite a bit.
He did.
I mean, until the 7th inning when maybe they left him in a tick late.
They executed better. What the Brewers tried to do was jump on him early on early pitches, find fastballs. They were just able to do it, and the Brewers weren't. And I think because of that, there was a 2-pronged effect. It had the Brewers believing they couldn't hit. Yeah, pause. It had the Brewers believing they couldn't hit him, and it had Blake Snell starting to believe that they couldn't touch him, which both ended up being true. But it's the old Leroy Butler thing. They don't think they can beat us. I'm telling you.
They still don't think they can beat us.
Unfortunately, I think there was a point where we started to be set down to a point where we didn't think we could touch them, and we didn't.
Do you think the Brewers need? Sorry, not to interrupt you
you're
there,
good.
because I think what you just said is paramount. Do you think there was a point where the Brewers felt like they could beat the Dodgers?
I do. I would like to say that. I think it was game 1 or late in the game. I felt like late in the game 1, we're putting a rally together, even off Blake Snell. I'm like, this is what we've done all year, guys. This is what we're going to do again. We're going to figure out a way. And I like to think even losing game 1 the way they did, that could have carried some momentum into hoping that feeling persisted in game 2. But then right again, you go up against, was he Yamamoto, right?
Yamamoto in game 2.
And he just beat you up. And there's nothing more demoralizing in baseball than when a pitcher is absolutely dominating you and you feel like you can't touch him. It was the Jeff Suppan thing before he was a Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
When Jeff Suppan was
he
a
was
Cardinal,
actually good.
We could not touch Jeff Suppan. And it wasn't like he was the best pitcher in baseball, but something about him made him to the Brewers unhittable. And I know they thought about it that way too. So now things changed when he became a Brewer.
Yeah.
And rolled up with that 5.5 ERA. Thanks, Jeff.
I don't know how I'd answer the question because I think they did. I believe everybody in the dugout firmly believed that they could win the series and were going to win the series. I don't know how many Brewers fans actually did.
That's a fair point. That's absolutely fair point.
Right? Like, I wonder how much of it was telling yourself you did and how much of it was just wanting to believe. But there was more belief this year than there had been. We need more of that.
But does that permeate to the team? When you're the home crowd and you feel that you know what I mean? That's hard to put a finger on.
Yeah. I think it depends on who you talk to, too.
Yeah.
And who you ask. And at what point in the year you ask. Because there was a lot of time when it was all gung-ho. The fans matter. This matters. And then you go to Wrigley. And they're rocking. And that clearly mattered because Murph said, you guys don't understand. That was a tough environment. But there's step ladders of success. The Blue Jays had been the Brewers for a long time. Remember, Vlad Guerrero coming up on contract year. Bo Bichette coming up contract.
Yeah.
These are young offensive players that all grew together, went through a lot of scars. Maybe you need a couple more scars in the postseason for this Brewers team to be able to get home.
Maybe so, Billy, and I'd like to think that. Hey, I do appreciate Bill, though, checking in from Ryan River, because that was our third Bayfield County reference or talked about or representation in the last week or two. Like Bayfield County's really been representing. And there were some that thought the demise of the Twin Ports. No, not around here.
No.
We know we got the listeners up there in the Twin Ports, and they're still listening to us. Whether or not they're giving us or not, they're still out there trying to find us. We appreciate Bayfield County and the Twin Ports up there.
And we're still scrapping for you, and you can join us at 877-794-1973. We're going to be joined by our friend Matt LePay coming up in 20 minutes from right now. It's No BS on the Game.
Coming at us, too hot to think straight, too cold to panic, all of the problems just feel dramatic. Now we're running to the first bar that we find.
97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
The Kohl Center's busy season started last night. Men's basketball opening up their Madison schedule with an exhibition game against UW-Platteville.
Rhodey across half court with 4, with 3. Rhodey spins in the lane, floats it up and in. Andrew Rhodey takes care of business. The steal at one end, the bucket at the other, and the Badgers will take a 9-point lead.
The Badgers beat the Pioneers 69-53. Nolan Winter with the double-double, 17 points and 15 rebounds. Their regular season opens up at home against Campbell on Monday night. Tonight at the Kohl Center, it's hockey. Wisconsin hosting number 19 Minnesota in their Big Ten opener. The puck drops at 8. Into the World Series, the Blue Jays are on the brink. Toronto with a 6-1 win over Los Angeles to take a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 is back in Toronto tomorrow night, and the Bucks host Golden State tonight starting at 7. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
Miss an hour of No BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bryan Adams to discuss the difficulties of putting a record together, particularly the Reckless album.
If you knew what Reckless took to make, you wouldn't think that, it just sounds like we went in an afternoon and recorded a record, because I toiled over that record for 6 months, I mean, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I was completely wiped out afterwards, because I fought every step of the way with everybody about it. And even though I had a good team, there was a lot of struggles. Mm-hmm. But, I come to terms with the fact that, if you want something bad enough, you got to fight for it. And so that's what I do now. I just, I put together a good entourage of guys and go in there and just get in the scrum, man.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bryan Adams and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to reflect on a day in the life of writing and producing the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album in France.
We all stayed at the Shadow in bedrooms, along with my producer, Gus Dudgeon, and Bernie, who wrote the lyrics. And I used to get up, and same time as Bernie, I went down to breakfast. Bernie would be typing, not Bernie Taupin, and he would give me a lyric. And I would have my breakfast, and I would have a croissant, and wander over to the electric piano. We had our instruments set up around the breakfast table, a guitar amp, a bass amp, and a drum kit, and the electric piano, and a mic. And I would sit down and write a song to those lyrics. Hence, then, could I wake the band up, because I'd be playing and singing, and they'd come down and having their breakfast, or even before they started, they would join in, and we would write the song straight away. After we'd finished, we'd go straight over to the other side. Maybe we write 2, but mostly 1. Start the day off with a song, and go off to the other side of the courtyard to the studio and record the song, and then write in the studio.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
Here's the snap. Rush on. Blitz on. Love rolls out right. Lofts it over the middle. Christian Watson's down inside the 10. He's tackled at the 7-yard line of Pittsburgh by Brandon Echols. Christian Watson, welcome back.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to talk about performing live.
Going on stage was when I could show off and be comfortable. And you know, I was always a bit timid off stage. And the stage gave me an outlet. And you'll find that with many performers, whether they be dancers, actors, singers, musicians. They have the outlet on stage to become the person they're not off stage. And I think that's what eventually led to my troubles, along with the drugs and the drink, is that the person who was fast becoming popular as Elton John and becoming, you know, the #1 rock star in the world had kind of escaped from the person off stage, and the balance was completely off kilter. And the more I became successful, the harder I worked, and the less time I concentrated on being normal or trying to be kind of normal. But people who knew me privately were shocked, I think, at what I was doing off stage. Rather, you know, they knew what I was going to do on stage. But off stage, they were shocked and disappointed.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
Snap to Love. Looking and waiting. Lofts it over the right side. Caught by Tucker Kraft to the 30. He's to the 40. He's to the 50, to the 45, 30. And down he goes inside the 30 at the 25-yard line. Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day. Another big play. In the air, they score!
The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound stop tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Is he alive or dead? I see thoughts within his head. We'll just pass him there. Why should we even care?
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you statewide and on YouTube and X. You can find us there. Almost 800 folks waking up watching us this morning. We appreciate every one of you being around the radio program today, whether it's on 1070 The Game in Madison, on 101.3 in Rhinelander, or you're waking up with us on the Score about to bid us adieu, 95.3 in Appleton or 99.1 in Oshkosh, 1570 AM. Hey, if you're about to lose us in Appleton, join us on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. We're
Just
right
because
here.
you guys are going to turn us off and go to, I don't know, Dan Patrick or something. Like, Dan's awesome. Phenomenal. One of my favorites of all time.
But is he better than me?
You know who my absolute favorite of all time is? Armin Sarian.
I appreciate that. Well,
So,
you know, Dan Patrick
I would stay here. I would stay here and join us on the YouTube stream or find us on the iHeartRadio app and just go like 1070 The Game.
Yeah, you want something local? Absolutely. We're right here for you. And it's as easy and free to listen to us as ever. You know, you don't get much for free anymore, Billy, in this world.
Not a lot of stuff for free.
I'm still not asking for tips yet. So far, you know, you don't have to feel that guilt to listen to us for free. The YouTube makes it easy, and I think more fun to watch us, and you can get involved with the conversation in the comments on the side. There's always a different economy going on the YouTube on the side.
Always a good conversation
like
rolling
Man
there.
of the Mill, I think that's Eddie and Styles just saying Kobe. Yeah, why not Kobe? I mean, I don't know what that was in reference to, but hey, why not? So
I like Diamond Dave. There are sure a lot of people sucking up to you guys today, but all BS aside, you guys are really great, and I do love listening to you on my way to work and every morning.
Thank you, Diamond Dave, and
Dave,
thanks for
you're the
finding
guy.
us,
We
even
appreciate
though
it, man.
you're
Thank
you're in the car, because I know that's one tough thing when you're in the car
It can be tough.
sometimes to get the streams
Yes.
going and stuff like
Yes.
that. But that's where the iHeartRadio app comes in handy. Absolutely, and you
And
can-
all the different Bluetooth CarPlay
come on.
converters that I'm finding, pretty impressive stuff.
Dude, unless you're driving a 95 Cutlass Sierra, and I don't think you. No, I'm just saying. No, and all respect to the Buicks and the Oldsmobiles.
I don't know. Letty's dented up. Is that a Camry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Solara.
Solara. Yeah, that thing thing needs a converter.
340,000 miles, I want to say. Last check. I can go out there and break and do a final check.
Dude.
What's that?
I didn't know you had a Solara.
Yeah, it's a
Dude,
two-door.
Solara and the Chrysler Sebring, what I used to drive, were kindred spirit vehicles. Those were the two. Now yours isn't a convertible.
No, but speaking of kindred spirits, my first ever car was a 1990 88 Oldsmobile.
Let's go.
Does that make sense to you? The
No.
model was called 88, which went from 88 to 90.
I do
and I
remember
got the
that.
final edition
Yeah.
of the 88 model in 1990 of
Represent.
the Oldsmobile.
Mom, I made a K car, the Reliant K.
It had the
Look
spoke.
at that.
It had spokes for the wheel wheels.
Yeah, man. No, you were driving those boxy things. You were somebody, man. Those were all right. And then the Dodge Neons of the world jumped in there.
Came in and ruined it all.
I mean, it is what it is. But
I wouldn't say
hey,
ruined.
you know what though? Respect to you driving the Toyota Solara. I mean, that is
for a little bit longer.
That's a car. Let me tell you, that's a car. Just like the Sebring. That was something. It wasn't everything. It was something though.
Don't get too nostalgic about the Sebring over here. We got two more. We got 2 more hours.
2 more hours.
You
man.
want to hear something hilarious
I
from
do.
the world of college sports?
I do.
This is Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry yesterday as he met the assembled media, and as they're talking about protecting the most vulnerable in the state of Louisiana. And Jeff Landry, you need a little bit of understanding about Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. He is Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, who had at a number of different times last year campaigned very openly that LSU needed a live tiger on the sidelines and said, I'm sick and tired of hearing everybody say we can't do it. Georgia's got a dog. We've had a tiger. I want a tiger on the sidelines. And he was steadfast in it. This guy is awesome.
Okay.
This was Jeff Landry yesterday talking about Scott Woodward, the athletic director at LSU. By the way, LSU, maybe the best job in the country for college football. We're going to talk about this with Matt LePay coming up in about 10 minutes, but they don't have a president.
Okay.
And they might not have an athletic director after this is the way the governor was talking about the coaching search.
To foot the bill. So yeah, I absolutely. Who's that? No, I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee and they're going to go find us a coach.
I mean, he owned that USFL team.
Hold on. One real quick thing on that. Because here's what y'all reporters need to do. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people.
You blame the media.
Like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodward's agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now. Like it's really time for the NCAA to put on some guardrails in college sports.
Ain't happening.
Because
Governor Jeff Landry, the most
Oh my gosh,
recent to
he's
say,
fired up. Yeah.
we need some damn guardrails on college sports. He also said we're going to get a committee because Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach.
No, we're not doing it. He's not doing it.
And we're going to find a committee. I'm not selecting the next coach. Donald Trump not selecting the next coach. But we're going to find a committee. And it made me remember the great Mike Leach on, Coach, what do you think of hiring committees?
Because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, I mean, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, I mean, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner.
One of the absolute greatest.
The greatest.
moments of all
Rest
time.
in peace, Mike Leach.
Yeah.
He always spoke the truth. And Billy, I'm not saying we can get in the committee, but if I'm not mistaken, Louisiana's lieutenant governor is a guy that we have a close personal relationship with. I think you have his number.
Billy Nungesser?
Billy Nungesser.
I think we got Billy Nungesser's butt on the phone here.
His phone number is sitting right on my dresser at home.
We got
and
his
I'm going
number.
to give him a dial, and we're going to see how we hire the next football coach at LSU.
We have a connection there.
And who knows? Maybe it's Luke Fickell, 877-794-1973. That and a lot more into hour number 3. We're going to discuss the ever-changing landscape of college football into the bye week for the Badgers with the voice of Wisconsin football, Matt LePay, but also the voice of Wisconsin basketball. And hey, did you miss this? Badgers won last night against Greg Gard's brother. Good story there. We'll talk about it with Matt LePay on the other side. It's No BS on the Game.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game. No BS on The Game.
Show up all the odds of the different teams that could win the title. There are 14 teams up on there, none of which were named the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
For the first time in a long time.
We're not top 14. Jeez. Okay.
Let alone top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the Bucks for a majority of the last decade since Giannis has taken that next step and become the MVP player that he is and has been in the NBA. So you just see, and at the Potawatomi Sportsbook right now, you can look down the list of different teams, and I think the Bucks appear right around 15th or 18th. In terms of odds, they're like 50-1 long shots to win the NBA championship.
Plus 5,000 right now.
And understandably so. They are a really, really unproven group and a very unproven commodity. But when they got the best player in the Eastern Conference that is still seemingly wide open, definitely not as much of an open and shut case as I think the Western Conference is, with Oklahoma City kind of head and shoulders above everybody. In the East, I don't see that. And I see a team that is, with him as motivated as he appears to be, it could lend itself to positive results.
Billy and Armin are talking about all of your favorite teams each morning from 6 to 10 on The Game.
Classic Cuts.
Steve Miller wrote most of his band's hits, but one of them actually came from someone else.
Well, Jet Airliner was a song that was written by Paul Pino, who's a really great guitar player and songwriter who should have had a big-time career, but had a lot of bad luck. And we got together and worked on this song, and it's the song that we usually close the show with. You know, the audience really loves it.
Paul Pena's Jet Airliner was in the top 10 in July of '77.
Oh, big old jet airliner, don't carry me too far away. Oh, big old jet airliner, 'cause it's here and I've got to stay. Goodbye to all my friends at home. Goodbye to people I've trusted.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Michael Jackson songs you've thumbed up. Number 3, The Way You Make Me Feel. Number 2, Beat It. Number 1, Billie Jean.
She just a girl, that I am the one, but the chair is not my son.
Hear more from Michael Jackson and similar artists now. Search for Michael Jackson on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1978.
In January of 1978, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack is released featuring the music of the Bee Gees. It hits number 1 in the U.S. for more than 6 months. An amazing 18 weeks at number 1 in the UK, it becomes the best-selling soundtrack album of all time. In February of 78, Pasadena, California hard rock band Van Halen released their self-titled debut album. It hits number 19 on the charts. Their cover of The Kinks' Who Really Got Me cracks the top 40 at number 36. In March, the Patti Smith Group released their third album, Easter. It goes to number 20. Their single, Because the Night, goes to number 13. It was co-written with Bruce Springsteen. In May of 78, Detroit rock singer Bob Seger releases his 10th album, Stranger in Town. It goes to number 4 in the U.S., yielding 3 top 20 singles, including Still the Same, which also goes to number 4.
Are you still the same?
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1978. Coming up.
And in the air, they score! The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound shot tipped wide by O'Hara. And Carr threw it. Oh, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30. Face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
This is No BS with Billy and Armin on Wisconsin's home for the best sports talk and other stuff. The Game.
No BS turns the page into hour number 3 here on The Game. I'm Billy Schmidt. That's Armin Sarian. And as House of Pain can only bring in one man, the great, the Hall of Famer, the voice of Wisconsin football and Wisconsin basketball, back on the hardwood last night. A Guard family reunion at the post-game press conference, as well as the Pioneers of Platteville in the Kohl Center last night. Matt LePay joins us now. Matt, I love when the WEAC schools are able to go and take on the powerhouses of the Power Four. That's an awesome event last night, albeit an exhibition game, and some people will be happy, frustrated, dismayed with results. However you want to be. It's an exhibition game, so we can all calm down, Francis. But I love being able to see the D3 players on a D1 court, because that moment is something that they're never going to take away and never going to forget.
Yeah, and some of those guys played at the Kohl Center in state tournament games, which that's not unique to D3, but those guys, there were guys who came from really good high school programs, and oh, by the way, they pushed the old Badgers last night. It was 47-45 in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh boy. And then Wisconsin took over. Didn't shoot free throws well, but when it started its run, it was starting to knock down free throws and tighten things up defensively. But yeah, credit to Jeff Guard. I mean, he's done such a good job. We know about Greg Guard, or at least those who follow the Badgers know about Greg Guard. Those who follow the WIAC, obviously the Platteville tradition is incredible, but Jeff Guard has done great work there. And, he's lost some key pieces from a year ago, but I would guess, and I said it at the end of the game last night, they'll continue to be a problem in that league. I think lacrosse is very highly regarded as well, but they came out and got after it. Badgers turned it over a lot, certainly by their standards. Austin Rapp in particular had a pretty difficult night in the old turnover category, but it was good. This was the Guarding Against Cancer game. A lot of different groups were recognized in the fight against cancer and treatment and care, patient care, all of that. So that a little bigger cause in a basketball game, but I would tell you that the Pioneers showed very well last night.
Well, and I was reminded yesterday as the Pioneers were taking on the Badgers at the Kohl Center that I had called a Pioneers game at Fiserv Forum. The Carroll Pioneers actually now not recognized the first basketball game at Fiserv Forum for Marquette was against the Carroll Pioneers.
That's where they played an exhibition, right?
And, Matt, Pioneers did have a robust 5-3 lead at one point. Your boy was quite fired up on the home court.
I remember that. I don't know if I was actually at the game, but I was nervous. I remember it was 5-3, and I was like, what are we going to get this year from this Marquette squad?
You didn't know what the Pioneers are bringing to the table. You didn't understand. You slipped on it a little bit.
I think it's fair to say, if there's one guy that's not going to be intimidated by, Greg Guard and the Badgers, Jeff Guard, right? He's like, that's my brother. I ain't intimidated by you. You're just Greg. I know you. I know how to beat you, So I think that's a factor there.
Yeah, no doubt. He's going to mess with it a little bit, play a little zone for a handful of possessions. So, and the Pioneers led 7-0. They got an early touchdown in the game last night. So, Billy, did you pull a Lee Corso? I mean, the story about Lee Corso, he was coaching Indiana. They took a 7-0 lead in Ohio State, something like that. He had made sure somebody took a picture of him on the sideline with the scoreboard behind him. Did you do anything like that when it was 5-3, Carol?
I'm almost I do have a picture of it being 5-3, and I do believe I tweeted out upset alert. Just gave me an upset alert a few minutes in. Forced an early timeout for the Golden Eagles. They were a little bit nervous. I could see.
You never know what could happen, but you have to appreciate the moments in history And that was a moment, right? Being up 7-0.
Yeah, that was a moment.
That was a moment for them. Now it did end with the Badgers winning. And this is a really interesting Badgers basketball team this year. Newcomers, obviously, Matt. And we talk about the first year without having Kirk Penny involved with the offense. But it seems like a lot of the same offensive theories schematically are going to be left over, right?
Yeah. And Kurt left late, so I mean everything is in place certainly with what he brought to the table with the ideas, the concepts offensively. It's going to be a matter, and I think the 2 exhibition games served notice that yes, there's a lot of talent on this team, but by no means are they close to a finished product. I don't know what coach would want his team to be a finished product right now.
Great point.
They're still they're figuring some things out defensively, as Greg mentioned to us after the game last night when he was talking to Butchie and myself, that he put a group out there that really understood what they want to do defensively, and they made it really tough for Platteville. But I think even at the other end of the floor, some of the these young bigs, they're gifted, but they're still figuring out the system. I mean, the summer workouts help most of these guys, but 2 of the newcomers, with Hayden Jones and Alexis Bielauskas, were late arrivals. They were in their home country. They were playing basketball overseas, so they weren't involved in all the summer workouts. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think these early games, which will start on Monday against Campbell, you're still figuring out what combinations work and what your lineups are going to look like game to game. But I do think it is a really, really intriguing team. The mystery is, how good are all those other teams in the Big Ten going to be with their newcomers? Purdue almost brings back everybody. They've added a couple of pieces, but a lot of new faces or guys in different places throughout the conference. And how soon are these teams going to be able to gel?
Matt, that's one of the best questions and one of the understood, I think, phenomenons of this new age of college sports, where like preseason rankings, it's always in vogue after week 2 to say, I don't buy into preseason rankings. I don't even care. I don't even look at them. Well, we keep doing them. And at some particular point, whether it's just the AP, you see it in college football all the time. A lot of these middle of the pack to upper tier Big Ten teams are not getting the respect they deserve because of what they were ranked in the preseason AP, it appears. I'm excited to see where the college football one goes. But with how different all of these rosters are at this point, we put the preseason rankings out and we have to keep doing it because we need content. And at some point, we do need a baseline to start the judgment on. But have they ever been less important at this point, even though we still put them out and they're going to have the number up there on screen and people are still going to judge it because it's the first initial reaction to the team?
Yeah, the importance is the marketing component. It just gets people talking about it. And
Totally.
I mean, I've never figured out why do we do NFL power rankings? What's the point? It's just it's something to talk about and get people upset. I mean, they do have this thing called standings, and you win the division, the wild cards. It all gets kind of figured out, but we still have to do power rankings because it's something to discuss. And this is the college sports equivalent, and it probably means more just from a pure marketing standpoint to have this. But yeah, I think it is probably less reliable than ever. I mean, look back at the preseason top 25 or even top 10 in college football, and you've got guys out of jobs, getting paid a lot of money to not coach, but they're nowhere close to where their preseason rankings were. But it's okay. I mean, you can get as wound up about it as you choose. You just get an idea. Okay, here's what we think you're going to be. But right now, with all the roster fluctuation that goes on for most of the programs in college football and college basketball, it's anybody's guess. And the thing you remind people with college football, the ranking that really matters starts next Tuesday, and even that's going to change the college football playoff rankings from next Tuesday to after the conference championship games. And with basketball, you start to look at NCAA net rankings, and you probably don't want to look at that really closely here for a while, but that's the kind of stuff that matters, not the AP or the coaches polls.
Yeah, there is a preseason KenPom, which I always kind of confused about because I'm like, well, there's no data to go off of. However, there's some predictional data, and I'm not a mathematician, so I don't question anything, but it reminds you. And
Do you ever question anything though that Ken puts out?
I never have, and I never will until there's a reason to. But I will say this: it's a good reminder that like so many times as fans, we get locked into thinking whatever we see is the finished product, and teams change. I mean, teams are going to change throughout the year, especially now with Portal and the fact that a group hasn't been in a crucible of building and growing together for years anymore. Sometimes they're thrown together. So more so than ever, teams can get better throughout the year. Teams can look different. They can focus on different strengths and things throughout the year. And sometimes we get locked into fans and thinking, okay, the first game or the first 10 minutes I see a team play football or basketball, this is what they are. And therefore, this is the judgment I'm already making on them. And we make so many early judgments on this. And it's like, no, teams change. It is okay to expect that, and it will happen.
Yeah, so you're saying that we view each game as trash or treasure. That's pretty much how we view it, right? No in between, no like, hey, it's early, let's let it play out.
We love to do that in sports. I don't know why, but it's
yeah, we do. Well, we all have forums, and we all, we're really good at how does Drew put it? We specialize in bitching and moaning. We're really good at that. We're world class.
Our national pastime, yeah.
but we're tuning in. So you're right. It's like with baseball too. They come up. Is it Pacoda? They come out with the predictive stuff in January, February. Baseball teams change. You have this thing called a trade deadline, and sometimes that can change your makeup. Injuries happen, but it's something. Again, it's a marketing thing. It just gets us talking about the sports and. Greg Gard has mentioned this, and he is probably with every other coach in America. Like where you are now isn't where you want to be as a team. You don't want to be peaking at the end of October or early November. He uses the line now. Everybody's telling you guys what you are. I'm more excited about what you're not. Like they're not where they want to be in terms of protecting the basketball. They're not where they want to be in terms of rebounding and defense and being, they were not overly efficient last night offensively because they had a lot of turnovers. That's very un-Wisconsin like, but that's why you have these exhibition games. I thought it was interesting this week talking to Gard on his radio show. In college basketball, you have the 31 games plus at least one conference tournament game.
Mm-hmm.
Now this year they added the Oklahoma exhibition game. We've seen a lot of pretty good exhibition matchups, and then the D3 game. He would be in favor of one, if not two things. Either have a couple of more of those power conference exhibition matchups, but he's a believer that in this age of where revenue matters more than ever, play 40 games, play more games.
Yes.
And in his case, he just threw it out there and said, do a double round robin in the Big Ten. So that's 34 games. And then 6 non-conference games. There could be a bye game in there or two, but get the matchups. I mean, if you're a television partner, you're going to love it because of the inventory. Yes. You're going to get more people in your arenas. And it's still only half of it, not even half of an NBA schedule. And guys are getting paid. And yeah, I've asked around about this, and I thought, is this far-fetched? And the answer I'm getting is not necessarily. Now, does that mean next year or the year after? I don't know about that, but it might be something that we could see in the next few years, just more games, more dollars, more revenue, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and sorry, like the 72, is that what they're going to in the tournament? 74 in the tournament? Whatever those 4 games would ultimately be overall, Matt, I'm right there with you. Each team plays 6 to 7 more games. The inventory that the TV partners are going to get is going to be far and away bigger. They're going to love the fact that they get more inventory that way.
Yeah, the trick is you would just have to start the season sooner because CBS, which owns the March Madness, you got the Masters, so you still want the Final Four and the national championship game to be where it is in the month of April. But instead of these exhibitions, you could just see. I mean, I remember when the NBA regular season started in early November, and we're well underway yet. We're not through October. It's not all that far-fetched to see that in the college game as well. It's still the games. People would be concerned that, okay, do these games even mean less? If you're a casual fan, you're probably not paying much attention until March anyway.
Sure.
If you're really into it, if you love college basketball, I think that the old line less is more doesn't apply here. Maybe more is better for you because fans love it. They want to be in the arena or they just or consume the game however. So like I said, I don't know if that's happening real soon, but it doesn't sound like a far-fetched idea.
Armin, also sounds like less opportunities for us to watch The Golden Bachelor on Monday night.
That's tough.
And I'd be fine with that. I'd be down with that.
Oh, you didn't watch the reunion last night? No, I didn't. I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I did miss that one. Matt, on to the football side of things. It's nice to be able to get a bye week right now, to be able to build up all of your banked inventory and knowledge. You already had that in the memory bank for basketball, I know, but be able to work ahead into it. The sport's in a wild place right now. You mentioned all the teams that were in the top 10. There's two teams that were at different points in time number one in the country in certain publications. They both are paying $50 million to buy out their coach for the next certain amount of years. It's a wild place that the sport is in. However, as you look at it right now going into the month of October, we still got like 25, 30 teams that are viable for the playoff. And as much as we are talking about the negative side of it, I keep saying it, the games on the field, there's never been more impactful, meaningful games. And you look into the Big Ten of a lot of these teams that actually kind of have a little bit of an outside chance. I'm thinking of Iowa to make some noise here and surprise people and ruin their runs to the postseason.
Yeah, it's where college football is becoming much like college basketball. You got a lot of teams that are in play to get into the playoff, but how many of those are really serious national title contenders? Or those are probably two different subjects. But you're right, you're in play. So it has the national platforms maybe talking about in Iowa, or certainly a Vanderbilt now, which is a great story. Is it a national title team? I don't know about that, but it's a great story, and one that is certainly in the mix for being in the CFP, where before, when it was just the BCS or even the 14 playoff, it would be, yeah, they're a fun story. Let's talk about Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. But now let's get back to who's in, you get to those four. So it's a hot mess off the field in a lot of ways where, the governor, I heard you guys play the clip down in Louisiana.
Landry's one of one, man.
That's just outstanding. I mean, probably the best job out there on paper if you have a really thick skin, because it is everything down there, LSU football. But yeah, it's nuts where these guys, I was talking to Drew and KB yesterday, we've obviously made poor professional choices, because what better job could there be than to get canned and be paid $50 million to go away?
That's what my dad keeps telling me, about, he's like, you got to find one of these jobs that you can lose all your games in, or you can lose it
and still get paid.
I don't know what it is.
I'll never forget early on, the first couple of years when I was subbing with the Brewers, they were going through a bad stretch, and somebody said, "Hey, Matty, be ready, man. These fans, it's going to get crazy." And it was all I could do not to laugh, thinking, do you know the world? Are you college football?
People, my day job?
Yeah, and and relatively speaking, it's mild here. Now, people are real happy right now. I get it. Trust me, I understand it. They're angry, but it's still not all that close to what they're probably going through down in Baton Rouge or in Columbus, Ohio, if they lose to Michigan again. I mean, there's just a craziness to all of this. I mean, it's why people watch. It's why more people. Like each week, college football games are going to get more viewers than what the NLCS did.
Well, I think in a weird way. Sorry, man. I do think in a weird way, it's a love letter to the passion of the sport, though, because people wouldn't make these type of decisions and pay all this money for coaches and be willing to take big losses if they didn't care so much and so passionate about trying to win and trying to have their program win. And you just see at the college level, in certain places more in the country. We talk about the SEC, this and that, but I don't think it's only there. I mean, you see it. You see people go to amazing lengths. Look at Michigan, right, with the whole manifesto and what's going on. See people go to amazing lengths just for the passion of their team, for the passion of their group. Asking alums for more money or asking for donations.
That's
and
not stopping.
It's just the way it is, and it's all because of the amazing passion people have for these programs. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the worst fear, as we've talked about multiple times, the worst fear is apathy. And that's what you worry about here. If you're connected with the University of Wisconsin right now, it's just flat out anger. And I get that. And in a lot of ways, they'll voice their opinion by chance in the stadium or they'll voice their opinion by not going. But yeah, they do care. And I think if you take an upper echelon college atmosphere and you match it up against an upper echelon NFL atmosphere, there's no comparison. It's just different because people feel I mean, they obviously here, we love the Packers, and you go to a Chiefs game, and that's big time, Buffalo, etc. But you get into the a night game at LSU, or a Michigan Ohio State game, or when the Badgers have it rolling and they have a big time game, the atmosphere in those stadiums, it's crazy, because I think people, if you're an alum or not, if you're an alum, it's obvious, but you don't have to be an alum to be a passionate fan for a given school. And it's just different. And that's still, as much as stuff is changing, as much as, as a fan, you may not feel like these guys the way you used to. If that team is good and they're putting out a fun product, you're all over it. It's a day long or an all night long event being around the stadium and then going into the stadium.
Yeah, they might not have known John Tanje's girlfriend or fiance like they did Brad Davison after 6 years of playing at Wisconsin, but they love him just as much.
That's right.
When you're filling it up for 25 a game, we're gonna love you, no doubt about it. And it's interesting to see, Matt. I said it yesterday and met with a lot of anger on the talking text line. I understood why, but like right now, you're looking at 3 of the top 7 to 10 jobs available in college football right now. There's possibly going to be more. And it's a wild time. I thought we were going to be at a spot where we got to pay the players. So we're not going to spend this much money on the coaching situation. However, we don't like the coach. I'm giving you all this money and he's messing it up because my wide receiver that I'm giving cash to, if you're an LSU or a Penn State, like it's a weird feeling where boosters almost feel like they have more control, will feel like they have some more say because they can look directly at the players on the field that they feel like they're helping bring in, which is why.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Billy. I think in a lot of these cases, I mean, I think fans or donors, they'll endow a scholarship or they'll donate for a new building, like in Wisconsin with the indoor facility. But if it's here or anywhere, if there's a business or an individual donor who is working with an athlete and paying a lot of money, and that athlete doesn't perform, like the ROI ain't great. You're gonna hear, and it's certainly not unique to here, and I would say it's mild here compared to other schools. But yeah, that pressure is on, and to hope to get that kind of dollars over and over again. Ooh, that's a big ask. It's part of what we've talked about here too, is that more and more is being asked of fans with, just for price of admission to get in the stadium and not knowing when the game's going to kick. And now you add this component onto it. Ooh, that's you can see where the tempers get short and shorter with college athletics.
I would have just paid big money to be in the suites, the executive suites at Tiger Stadium this past weekend. From all the indications, they were legit just passing a hat and a bottle. Like, hey, you got any? Sweet. We need some more. All right. You can have some of this now after being able to pay us a couple of dollars.
Don't worry. The program will still be sustained on Brian Butch popcorn sales. That's how the program will be sustained always. Is he in midseason form yet? I know the first 5-star game you weren't on the call with him, obviously for duties, but it looked like he was crushing the 5-star popcorn good. You guys have another return date there. So I don't know. I mean, I want to make sure Brian Butch is in midseason form with the popcorn. Yeah.
Well, I know you guys were talking about the desire at LSU to have a live Tiger at a game. Wisconsin's opening night opponent is Campbell. They're known as the Fighting Camels.
We talked about it yesterday. Yes, the Camels. Yes.
So, yeah, Butchie's campaigning for a live camel to come into the Kohl Center. I'm thinking unlikely, but you never know. Be careful what you wish for.
Sure.
So on Monday night, be ready if we have a live camel in it. So that was Brian Butch's wish at the end of the broadcast last night.
Well, Matt, Halloween's tomorrow. One of those Spirit Halloween stores, I might be able to get something 60% off. I'll talk to you. I might be able to come in
and just
help out.
And I'll text this to Brian, but like if there is a camel, tell him don't. I know he's gonna want to ride it just for the visuals and just for the. Yeah. I've taken camel rides. They're bumpy. The center of gravity is high, and when you add a 7-footer in there, it's gonna be difficult. So I don't want to see him riding the camel because I don't want him to fall off, I
want to see him riding the camel. You're the only person on this call that doesn't want to see Butchie riding the camel.
You might be right about that. Yeah, that's true.
But Armin, if he fell off, he would tell you, and you do the voice. I'm good.
Oh, I'm good. Don't worry. It's not my first time riding a camel. I played everywhere in this world, man.
You know where I'm at. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. I fell off. It's all right. I'm going to jump right back on, baby. I'm good. I'm
back
all
on.
right.
I've seen it all. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm good. It's all good. Hey, brother, we've been through tougher things than this. Let's go.
Tougher things than this, no doubt about it. Matt, enjoy the football bye week. We loved being able to hear some basketball last night. Excited for Monday night, and we'll see you out at the camp coming up next week.
All right, boys. Have a good one. Take care.
There he is,
Thank you,
Matt
Matt.
LePay, joining us here, Hall of Fame voice of the Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball as well as football. Phenomenal dude, awesome conversation, and one of our favorite times of the week.
Favorite times of the week. I wish we could keep him on forever. You look down and you're like, oh man, it's been 20 minutes. You kind of feel bad because
I feel so bad. He's got
stuff to
important
do.
stuff to do than just yupping it up with us.
But I could talk to him about Brian Butch riding camels all day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's the content people want to hear of.
Yeah.
They also want to hear more of Matt Miller. That comes up on the other side. We give the people what they want. That's Armin Sarr, and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's No BS on the Game.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment.
Animals need friends. For a list of 10 easy things you can do to brighten their lives, please write People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. That's PETA, Norfolk, Virginia 23510. Thanks.
I'm Jason Flom, founding board member of the Innocence Project, and my new podcast is Wrongful Conviction, available on iHeartRadio. On Wrongful Conviction, I interview a different exoneree every week and help them to tell their incredible stories of tragedy and triumph against impossible odds. You've got to hear it to believe it. Wrongful Conviction from iHeart Studios, available now on iHeartRadio.
Classic Cuts.
A lot of rockers have fond memories of recording their hits, but Rod Argent has a different recollection of cutting his namesake band's Hold Your Head Up. The keyboardist says he could barely hold his own head up during the sessions at Abbey Road.
We recorded Hold Your Head Up and Keep On Rolling on that particular weekend. And I really wasn't well. I got some food poisoning. And my girlfriend at the time, she'd gone away for the weekend. So I was staying in the house by myself, feeling terrible. And I was turning up at Abbey Road for the sessions each day to record this thing, feeling absolutely awful. So that's what I remember about the session.
Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head high. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1974.
In April, Diamond Dogs is a #1 album in the UK for David Bowie. It goes to #5 in the US.
Rebel, rebel, you torn your dress. Rebel, rebel, your face is a mess. Rebel, rebel, how could they know? Hot tramp, I love you so.
In June of 1974, Chicago funk band Rufus, featuring lead singer Shaka Khan, score a #3 hit with Tell Me Something Good. UK supergroup Bad Company have a #1 album and a top 5 single, Can't Get Enough.
I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. Yeah, this one.
And Dutch hard rock band Golden Earring have a #13 hit with the single Radar Love.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1974. Coming up.
On the latest Tales from 1265, we dive into how the first Hall of Fame for an individual team came to fruition and the most unique story in all of sports.
They go further in the red, but then community leaders decided to have that first stock sale.
I'm Doug Russell. Join me for Tales from 1265 on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
If you have a smart speaker, listening to WISN has never been easier. Just tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio. Then sit back and enjoy the excellence.
You may not
not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. Whether you're at work or outside on the grill, you carry them with you. No, not with a jersey, but a mindset as you crack open that ice-cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold from the land of the green and gold.
Available throughout Wisconsin. 21 plus. Drink responsibly.
Hey, guess what? Matt Miller's up next. You know, the guy that talks about movies, pop culture, sports, all that stuff. He'll join us on No BS. So stay tuned and don't you touch that dial. Thanks.
And the Packers go into the victory formation. Final 35 seconds. Love drops to a knee, and that will do it. A convincing come from behind second half by the Green Bay Packers, and they pound out a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Welcome back. It's No BS on the Game. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmid. And now joining us is the incomparable, the beautiful Milwaukee Braves wearing Matt Miller joining us now on the show and on YouTube and X. Good morning, Matt. How are we feeling this morning?
Friends, I'm doing great. We're one game away from the Dodgers being potentially defeated. So
yeah, that's big. That's big.
That'll make everybody feel good. Armin said today he feels like a little bit of a, I don't want to mischaracterize how you've been saying it.
It was tough because the way I said it to Billy, and I've been thinking about it, it's like I wanted the Blue Jays to win. Like, I don't want the Dodgers to win the series. Like, I'm obviously going to root against the Dodgers just because they're easily unrootable, right? But the way they've been hitting home runs off Dodgers pitching and taking them to task, it makes me feel kind of like a chump as a Brewer fan. It's like this is actually not a great feeling to know that
it's a little frustrating to look at what the Blue Jays are doing and being like, oh, runs were possible.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was almost easier to have to be able to say, well, listen, nobody was going to beat them and we weren't going to beat them. And I've never been the guy, Matt, that feels, some people always had the whole, well, I want us to lose to the World Series champion, therefore it'll make us look better or feel better. I've never been that guy. It never made me feel better nor worse to see the team that we lost to go somewhere else. So I didn't really think I'd care. But I do kind of feel bad right now and feel really worthless as a Brewer fan. Because I think I would, but like, man, this stinks. I feel like a chump right now.
I mean, the thing is, the Blue Jays had a much better offense than the Brewers. I mean, I know everyone can pull up the stats that, the Brewers were so much better offensively, but when you did the eye test, the Brewers, I know you hate that, Armin, but
you have a point. Yeah, you have a point there.
Yeah, and we're not going to relitigate the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers today. We just can't do it. I refuse. But this has been a great World Series. I've been obviously it would be greater if it was Blue Jays Brewers, but I'm having a great time watching these two right now.
So you have been watching as much as you could. Like, this hasn't been one of those series where you're like, listen, I'm shutting the TV off. I'm not enjoying it. I don't want to know what the score is. The Brewers are out, and I'm just not going to pay any bit of attention. Because I feel like most people say that, Matt, when the Packers would lose in the NFC title game, which became a yearly occurrence. And then when the Brewers get bounced out in the playoffs, like, I'm just done. I don't have any more bandwidth to enjoy any more baseball.
Yeah, I think part of that is A, I just love baseball. And B, I don't have a feeling during that Brewers-Dodgers series of like, oh, we were so close, like, oh, that could and should be us. Like, you didn't come away from that series being entirely like, oh, man, like, this could be our moment, the way, 2018 when they made it all the way to Game 7. And, there was a little bit more of a feeling of like, oh, this is a missed opportunity, and watching this is going to remind me of that. Also, I like the Blue Jays. If this was Yankees Dodgers, I'd probably be checked so far out you'd have no idea. I would not be within screaming distance of the World Series. But the fact that you kind of have a Duke versus Campbell situation here, where you have the big behemoth, and you have the big behemoth in the Dodgers, and you have obviously the fifth highest payroll is not exactly a David situation, but
and it's a big city.
They're still the Toronto Blue Jays. They're still a team made of like Dalton Varsho's and a bunch of dudes who you couldn't name 3 weeks ago. So it's a fun matchup, and it's a one that's kept me entertained. And we had obviously the classic in Game 3, and I can't believe that it's the Blue Jays that came out on the other side of that game looking infinitely more refreshed and more ready to take on the rest of the World Series, as opposed to the Dodgers, who kind of look old. They kind of look like they used up all their steam to win Game 3, and now they're kind of, looking like steam. And obviously we got potentially two more games to go. But no, it's been a great World Series so far.
Well, it sure did. I mean, we're talking about how it sure did feel like after the crazy Game 3, the long game, that the Dodgers kind of felt like it was over after they overcame that, and like, okay, it's over now. We won Game 3, that we took the wind out of their sails, and it seemed to have energized Toronto. Maybe that is a youth thing, maybe it isn't, but whatever it is, I think it's a testament to Toronto not giving up and saying, no, we're still a team that's to be reckoned with. And maybe you are going to relax now that you won this game, but we're going to use it and spin it around as a positive. And I think it's something to be said for, we talked about this, Matt, your best players showing up and being their best at the most important times. And that's what you're seeing from Vlad Guerrero. He's just gone on this nuclear run.
It is great to see Vlad have such an incredible run right now, especially because there was that thought I was having where it was like, if the Blue Jays win the World Series, do they still give MVP to Shohei? Do they, is he just so undeniable that you kind of have to? But Vlad has been, equally as good as hard to say when Shohei can do the things he does on both sides of the ball. But Vlad has been very MVP worthy, and it's been great. And it between him being in the World Series and watching that Montreal Expos documentary on Netflix, it's really made me think back to Vlad Guerrero Sr. and just how awesome he was. Like one of those dudes I remember growing up being like, that's a dude that makes me want to play baseball and watch baseball. Like line drive missiles from the outfield to get dudes out at home plate.
Swings and anything,
hitting home runs off the bounce, balls that would skip into home plate, and he'd hit it out, just like a ridiculous, kind of underappreciated player. I mean, not at the time, but kind of 20 years later, people have kind of forgotten how awesome he was as a player, maybe partly because he played, with the Angels, who haven't been relevant in about 10 years other than as a feeder system for other teams, and for the Expos, who do not exist anymore.
Did you ever see somebody do that at Old Shuts Park, Matt Miller? Was just hitting off the bounce, because I did, and that was one of the most demoralizing feelings of all time when somebody just goes Vladdy on you.
Someone crickets a home run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you hear the ping of that bat, and you're like, son of a gun, that's going.
It's the worst, because it's like, that was a bad pitch. At worst, that should have been a ball. And instead, he's trotting around the bases. How does this happen?
Here, I thought they were going to move the tee out on the fourth ball, and instead that was how we were going to do it. Instead, he's just going to park it into somebody's pool on the other side. That's unfair.
There is something to the novelty of Canadian baseball, and I think, the Expos doc coming out, and something about it does make you kind of want to cheer for Toronto.
Yeah.
And famously, you've been on the baseball stadium tour your whole life with Dad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to Rogers Center and Toronto? We were talking about the hotel rooms in center field.
No, we've wanted to do Canada for a while, because not only is there Toronto, but there's a minor league team for the Mariners in Vancouver. So there's two kind of options to get into Canada these days. We've been to Buffalo, we've been to Niagara Falls, and we could look over the border and be like, there's a baseball team there with a hotel in their center field. But we're hoping to get to Canada one of these years. Might be a little bit hard. Part of it is I have shamefully never seen an NHL game live in my life.
Ooh, yes.
I've done a bunch of AHL, obviously tons of Admirals game come this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Going to be a great time. But I've never seen an NHL game in person. And now I'm like in my mid-30s and I'm like, listen, if I'm going to go to an NHL game and it's going to be my first NHL game, I kind of want to see it in Canada. I kind of want to see it in its native land. I want to see it somewhere loud. So I'm trying to tie in the blue, the Maple Leafs into anything that happens there. So we'll see what happens. I gotta get to an NHL game before I turn 40. There, if I die without seeing a live NHL game, me and God are gonna have words.
We can't let that happen. And frankly, you're gonna live such a long, healthy life, Matt Miller. You got years and years and years of options.
You clearly know nothing about my diet. If you cut me open, it's just Dr. Pepper and Cheeto dust, man.
Well, we're sitting here with a Screaming Sicilian pizza, half eaten, and it's 8:39 in the morning. So we're definitely the models of health. But I would tell you this one from the NHL game in person equivalent. There's not much of a sport that's better. One that you add in a higher appreciation for the game than seeing it in person, because we get to do it with the Admirals. And I made a joke earlier, Matt. It was Hacktoberfest last night at the Admirals game.
I saw that.
And I was dressed in the full kit. I had the whole uniform on. I had the
great uniform,
medium apron, female variety, with the low cut top on. And then the hat and the glasses that had the Oktoberfest logo on it. And I made eye contact with the Wolves player, and he looked and said, "This son of a this is pro hockey. This is professional. This is where I'm at." But when you see the skill and the speed in person, like at the Admirals game, it's amazing. You go to the NHL environment with how loud it ends up being in 20,000, and add in the liquor that Armin and I got pumped into our veins when we went to the game in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I understand why you'd want to go north of the border for your first NHL action. I can't say no, but I would advocate for the Golden Knights to be your first NHL experience, because that place is a hornet's nest.
It's cool. I mean, I was guilty of it too, man. And I hadn't gone to one until we went to the Knights game last year. And it was quite a spectacle. There's no doubt about it. They have the showmanship. They've got the night that comes out and all this stuff.
It's the Vegas, yeah.
It's the Vegas showmanship aspect of it, yeah.
I don't know. Me and Vegas don't see eye to eye on things. Vegas,
you don't want to see a 4D fight with a night before the teams come out? That's pretty impressive stuff on the
I'm
ice.
there for a hockey game, Billy. I'm not there for Cirque du Soleil.
Yes,
tie it all
in,
and then there's all of a sudden somebody who comes out and plays pop music during the second intermission. It's an electric.
You might not be there for Renaissance Fair either, but you are willing to see the jousting competition while it exists.
Yeah,
that's
I'm there for medieval times.
Exactly.
Served a turkey on a full turkey. Have to eat it with my hands because there were no utensils in medieval times.
Well, yes, but we are Admirals game hosts. We know what LARPing's all about. Like Billy said, He is the Oktoberfest outfit.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, Friday night's going to be Halloween themed at the Admiral. It's going to be a big weekend for dignity.
I love that. All right, we got some more. I'm assuming we'll have you after the break to talk some more pop culture and Halloween movies. I've been wanting to talk Halloween movies with you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we only have a couple of days left because I've been already instructed that when I get home today, we're taking everything down.
What's it for?
And we're getting the Christmas decorations up.
Wow, the Thanksgiving arrangement.
It's not even Halloween yet.
So we got time. We got to figure out if we're going to watch the Sanderson Sisters before this event happens later on this afternoon. So we got to get the Halloween movies in before they department store style move on to Christmas. 877-794-1973. Armin's pissed.
Well, no, I'm not even a Halloween guy. I don't even care about this holiday that much. But I really feel sad for at least let the holiday occur. Until you start putting up,
did trick or treating. There's Matt Miller. That's Armin Sorry, and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's an OBS on the game.
.97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
The Stanley Cup has resided in the United States since 1994. Major League Baseball's Commissioner's Trophy is one game away from living in Canada. Last night, Game 5 of the World Series didn't take long to see how the night was going to go.
First pitch of the game, driven in the air, left field. That one's back at
the wall. Gone! Davis Snyder on the first pitch of the game. Blasts one over the left field wall. And the Blue Jays have taken a 1-0 lead. How about that? And this place is stunned.
Play-by-play courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Blue Jays beat the Dodgers 6-1 to take a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 is back in Toronto tomorrow night. And on the hardwood, the Badgers opened up the Kohl Center portion of their schedule last night with an exhibition win over Platteville 69-53. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
Miss an hour of No BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app. Second down, goal to go. Williams in motion to the left, out of the shotgun, snap the left, quick cross Williams, left side, with blocking to the 5, to the end zone. Is he in? Yes! Touchdown, Green Bay Packers. Savion Williams, his first career touchdown reception, and the Packers are back in it.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Steely Dan songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, A19.
She thinks I'm crazy, but I'm just growing old. Hey, 19. No, we got nothing in common. We can't dance again. We can't talk at all.
Number 2, Do It Again.
Here you go back, Jack, do it again. We'll turn it round and round. You go back, Jack, do it again.
Number 1, Reeling in the Years.
Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine?
Hear more from Steely Dan and similar artists now. Search for Steely Dan on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
For a variety of tips, including a mortgage reality check to help homeowners safeguard their properties during the current mortgage crisis and in the future, visit housinghelpnow.org. That's housinghelpnow.org, a public service from the NFCC.
We call it Wagertainment.
All right, place your bets, place your bets.
VSiN, every night at 6. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest on Fox Sports 920.
Packers fans need to know that 95.7 Big FM is the new Milwaukee home for all of the Packers game day action.
The Packers are back home Sunday to play the Panthers. Pre-game show starts at 8 with a noon kickoff from Lambeau.
When the Packers play, hear it all on 95.7 Big FM.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to talk about how emotions can get the best of him when he listens back to the album Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I got very tearful because it reminded me of such a joyous time in my life. And you can imagine just the camaraderie of being with a group of people you loved who made music together and who were in the ascendancy, and they were clicking together so well. This is I call it the finely tuned album, because we'd made 2 albums as a band with Davey Johnston, and this was our 3rd and 4th. And it was such a wonderful time. I mean, everything just clicked cozy. We were very happy people. There were no arguments. Everybody got on with each other. Our producer and Bernie were our 5th and 6th members of the band. It was such a joyous experience to be so young, so successful, and still have the hunger to be even more successful. And this is the album that really launched me. I was very successful up then, but this one launched me into another level of success.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
And in the air, they score!
The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena.
Rebound shot tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores!
Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And Rodgers takes. Back to throw. Tight pocket. Hit and sack! Hit and sack back near the 10-yard line. Micah Parsons. You knew the Parsons project was going to make its way into this game, and it just did.
That's when I saw her. Ooh, I saw her. She walked into the outdoor. She wore a raspberry
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. That's Armin Sarian. I'm Billy Schmidt. Matt Miller joining us here. A Man About Film, where you follow him on all social medias and follow the Substack. Subscribe to the Substack. Get all the information possible and all the writings that our friend Matt does. But you want to listen to him on No BS on Thursdays, right around 8:20, 8:30. And we talk some movies, talk some baseball, talk some college football. Good weekend. Not a great slate this weekend, Matt. So hopefully it delivers, like a lot of times that happens in the sport that we love so much on Saturday football. But Armin has a way and has something to ask you about as we get closer and closer to Halloween, and my wife tries to move Halloween right on out of the month of October. Halloween movies only got one more day, Armin, here about 36 hours before people are saying Christmas with the Cranks and Elf are what we want to be watching.
Yeah, don't get me started on Elf, but yeah, all right, Matt. So obviously, your vast institutional knowledge of cinema is one of my favorite things, and I like to know that you're sort of like an industry standard. Like, not that's the wrong way to do it. You're sort of like the Greek chorus for me. Like when I try to argue about like why certain movies that I like should be better rated, and you're like, no, they shouldn't. I appreciate that. But okay, so I'm not a big horror movie guy. I'm not a big Halloween movie guy. Billy, we talked about this earlier in the week. I don't think getting scared is great entertainment, but to each their own. All right. I don't know where you feel in general on the genre in terms of film. Like, is it one of your favorite genres? Do you see it? It's got an important place, but it's not, I don't know how you felt about it in general. That was my first question.
I like horror a lot, especially right now. It's kind of where the most original stuff is being made, because as the rest of Hollywood gets really kind of IP crazy and gets really scared of original risks in other genres, and we've lost kind of the adult drama. Horror is kind of one of the few places that studios feel comfortable being like, yeah, let's do an original story here. Yeah, let's push some buttons in this area. Like let's do some weird visual stuff. Let's have some fun. So that's kind of made horror this exciting genre right now, and it's always kind of been the scrappy genre. There's a reason why when wannabe filmmakers, want to make their first movie in college or whatever, they make horror movies. You can make them on the cheap and make something that is kind of fun and kind of, impressive in its low budget way. It's harder to do that with, a very serious drama when you want to have the resources and the performances. No one wants to watch, a low budget, stately drama, but watching a low budget horror movie is a lot more fun.
That's a good point.
That is true.
I think about Blair Witch Project. All right. So that popped off when I was in high school. And Billy, we talked about like when you're kind of not a fan of the genre and you get scared anyway, but you got to try to act cool because you're 15 and there might be girls there. Mm-hmm. Blair Witch Project was one of those, right? That like, it was sort of like foundational.
Prom Night was the one that I had to
That's one.
stomach through and try to act like I wasn't scared.
But I feel like Blair Witch Project at the time became so overrated and now was underrated. Is that a fair way to look at that?
I think that's a fair way to say it, because people forget what a insane sensation Blair Witch was. It wasn't the first viral movie, but in that modern era, it was one of the first to really weaponize the internet and start being like, oh man, this is real footage. This is actually something that happened. There was this air of mystery, and the fact that they had cast a bunch of people no one had seen or heard of before in these roles, everyone was like, oh, I got to see this thing. And it's funny, at the time, the knock on Blair Witch was like, oh, like the camera is moving way too much, and like, oh my God, I'm going to be sick watching this movie, and not because it's gross, but because the camera, where is a tripod, for this camera? And now, 30 years later, watching YouTube, making our own home videos and stuff like that, that doesn't really qualify. Like, no one gets sick watching a movie like Blair Witch anymore, because you're like, oh yeah, this is just how YouTube video. This is how Instagram videos are shot. This is how viral videos are shot.
Right.
And it actually almost has more power now, because it has that kind of authenticity and rawness to it that, the best original YouTube videos had, where you didn't have that voice in the back of your head being like, oh, they're acting. Oh, they're mugging for the camera. Oh, this is an op here. This is a setup. You watch Blair Witch and you're like, there is still a level of like, this feels like three people getting lost in the woods. and slowly having a meltdown because it's freaky enough to be lost in a woods that seems to be going on forever and you don't know how to get out of that situation. But then all of a sudden, like, hey, what are these stick figures popping up all over the place? Why are things disappearing? What's this creepy house doing here? Why is that guy standing in the corner? You know, like it's a really great movie. I think it's hard to find it now because it did kind of fall in a rights black hole. And if anyone's ever wondering, like, why don't people talk about that movie anymore? Why can't I watch that movie anymore? Right. It's probably because the rights fell into a black hole, and that's what happened to Blair Witch. The studio kind of fell through, and Blair Witch doesn't show up on streaming services anymore. And if it did, it would look weird, you know, watching it on your laptop. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a shame because I think Blair Witch still holds up. I still think it's a great Halloween movie, especially if you don't like gore.
Oh, yeah, and there's a lot of people that are going to hit that here tonight. Hour 4 of No BS around the corner. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Chris.
No BS.
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a #1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the #4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to #9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to #12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the #1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of 75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to #1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fear. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
September of 77, American duo Steely Dan released their 6th album, Asia. It goes to #3 in the States on the strength of 2 top 20 hits, Peg and Deacon Blues. In October, the major label debut album by Meatloaf is released, hits #14 in the US, and goes on to be one of the best-selling albums of all time. Leonard Skinner released the album Street Survivor. 3 days later, singer Ronnie Van Zant and 2 other band members are killed in a plane crash. The album goes to #5 in the States, and the single What's Your Name hits #13.
What's your name, little girl? What's your name?
In November, Eric Clapton's Slow Hand is released. It goes to #2, driven by 3 hit singles, Cocaine, Wonderful Tonight, and Lay Down Sally.
Lay down, Sally, and rest you in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to?
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
Did you know your home can cause twice the greenhouse gases of your car? It's true. The good news is you can help with Energy Star. The EPA urges you to take steps to reduce your home energy bills and make a big difference in the fight against air pollution. Visit EnergyStar.gov.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bryan Adams to get a feel for when it all began for him musically.
I was about 10 years old. I was given a Spanish guitar for Christmas. And so, I wanted a drum kit, but I ended up getting a Spanish guitar. And I guess the things sort of just turned around from then.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bryan Adams and all your favorite artists.
I'll never tell a lie. I'll never make a misleading statement. I won't be any better president than I am a candidate.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1978.
In June of 78, Darkness on the Edge of Town is released, Bruce Springsteen's follow-up to his breakthrough album, Born to Run. The album charts at #5.
In the darkness on the edge of town. In the darkness on the edge of town.
Boston-based band The Cars released their debut album. It goes to number 18. It features the singles Just What I Needed and My Best Friend's Girl.
She's my best friend's girl, but she used to be mine.
In July of 78, the Rolling Stones released Some Girls in the U.S. The album and the single Miss You both hit number 1. In August of 78, Boston released their sophomore album, Don't Look Back. The album goes to number 1 in the U.S., selling 4 million copies in its first month.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1978. Coming up.
Malik in the slot, right side, snap to Love, quick toss, right side, got Kraft, makes the turn to the 10, breaks a tackle to the 5, he's in the end zone for a touchdown!
In the air, they score! The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound, stop, tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Takes the snap, looks, throws, left side, wide open. He's got Romeo Doubs for the 2-point conversion, and the Packers lead by 3 in the opening minute of the fourth quarter.
What you waiting for? Let's go. Make sure to make us a preset on the iHeartRadio app so you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Wisconsin's home for sports and stuff. We are the game.
They trail 7-0. Here's Brett Favre back to throw. He looks a lot of time going to the end zone. There's Dorsey, 11. Touchdown, Dorsey. It's a touchdown. Dorsey went up with a defender, brought it down, and the Packers have scored on a 29-yard touchdown pass by Brett Favre. Brett straight back in the pocket. Quick drop. Goes to the outside. There's a fade. It's there. Touchdown on Antonio Freeman. A little fade down and out by Freeman, and a perfect throw by Brett Favre with 48 seconds to go in the first half. Brett waits. Here's the play-action fake handoff. Second guy, Bennett walks into the end zone. Edgar Bennett with a hole on the right side that you can drive a truck to the Super Bowl through. And I hope you all have a great celebration tonight. Kneel down by McMahon. The countdown is on. It is all over, and the Packers are on their way to New Orleans for Super Bowl 31. Holy cow, what a terrific feeling.
At 6 to midnight, my friend Armin Sarian goes on the other side. The highlights from the NFC title game in 1996 play us back here as the Packers take on the Carolina Panthers at Lambeau Field this weekend.
Indelible memories if you lived through it, if you were a young 12-year-old like me and locked into it and locked into Jim Irwin's radio call, which was as pure and as authentic of joy as you could get. I mean, he was so excited. He was just one of us, and it was just a beautiful thing. That was the dream of a lifetime for many and for me. But I was young, so I can't really say I lived through so many bad years like all of our dads did, right, with the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, but you were getting close there. You were getting close.
It was pretty awesome. I mean,
30-13 victory.
Remember that game was. Dorsey was a monster that day, and some big plays in that game.
And Armin has probably watched that game 1,500 times. A
lot of it.
More times than you'll watch this weekend's game. However, this weekend's game, highly anticipated for some. And it's won because of the 1923 throwbacks that gets a little bit of a homecoming feel. However, the opponent and the name generally brings an era and a feeling of confidence. However, Carolina a little bit better than they have been in years past. Now joining us from Sirius XM NFL Radio is our friend Mike Clemens. And Mike has been one of the best radio friends of my professional lifetime. And I appreciate him joining us on No BS this morning across the state and on 1070 The Game in Madison. Mike, always appreciate it, man. And before we get into the game this upcoming weekend, these two programs, these two organizations, different feelings, right? I mean, you have Carolina, who's still trying to find themselves out of the wilderness. They're in the Super Bowl in 15, but that day in 1997 when they played for the right to go to the Super Bowl, one was a historic franchise trying to get back, and the other was an upstart program that was trying to jump into the Super Bowl in just 2 years into existence. That's a crazy flashback right there.
Yeah, morning, boys. Armin, you know what I love about you is because you do this on the air all the time, is you have these great flashbacks of, long before you got into radio and just as a fan as a kid, you have these because I hear you guys talking about it, and I love that. There's a perspective. It's just like, oh, wait a minute, I've known this guy since 2010, since Super Bowl 45. and all it does is it makes me and guys like Chuck Freeman, we already had kids by then. It's like, was Armin like 17 when he got into radio or something? It's like,
well, I appreciate that, Mike. I thank you very much. It means a lot coming.
How old do I have to get?
That's awesome. Thank you, Mike. I have been accused of being an old soul sometimes, or being like older than people think, or things like that. But I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. That's a compliment.
I love it because it brings it into our discussion, and all of us that do this, whether we covered all that, I think a lot of us sort of forget about the fan experience. And by the way, that's who we're working for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming back. You talk about this weekend's upcoming opponent. Do you know who is a senior advisor for the Carolina Panthers on the defense? Dom Capers.
He was the head coach. Yeah.
Who was the head coach during your little flashback?
Right.
There, again, and it was Dom then. So, I mean, some of these guys just can't get it out of their blood, he's up there helping out with their defensive game plan for, the Green Bay Packers again this time.
That's amazing. And it is an organization that, I mean, they've been trying to find some kind of good footing. They had their owner was throwing drinks on people last year. So it's rock bottom when that happens, but they got a young coach, a young quarterback. And Mike, it sounds like they're going to have Bryce Young, as he was back at practice yesterday. And that's a different player than he was last year. The Packers are trying to run their own race, and we'll talk more about the team here in a second. But Carolina is an interesting outfit because people think this is a homecoming game. That's why they're rolling out the leather-like helmets. But Carolina's respectable at 4-4.
Did Andy Dalton, did he jack his thumb in that game
this
past weekend? Is that what happened to him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because and I was like either in Pittsburgh or in transportation or something like that to be able to watch Carolina's last game. But, just in talking to the guys in the, Packers locker room yesterday, there's like guys that they were talking about on offense to keep an eye on. It's McMillan, the wide receiver. He had like 7 catches for about 100 yards. And then Dowell, Rico, that's the kid that showed up. The Jerry Jones and the Cowboys in their game a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Like, this is what you're missing. He had like 8 carries and 54 yards. And then on the defensive side, Jordan Love talked about Roseboom, their inside linebacker. That guy's all over the field too. So that, and just in terms of talking to the Packers and first day, I was actually talking to Bill Scott about this after yesterday's locker room. He says, these guys don't know much. I said, the best time to really start talking to the Packers about their opposition begins like Thursday afternoon or Friday because, they had Monday off. They watched some of this tape on their own. But on Wednesdays when they have press available in the locker room, you're pretty much hearing what LaFleur put up on the magic board, or on the screen, like the mission stuff, right? And then by about Friday afternoon, you really start getting some of the goods, and sometimes you can't get it on mic, but just like, oh, look out for this guy, or this guy does this, and because they've had 2 or 3 more days of not only watching it on tape, but kind of a walkthrough and figuring that out when they're on the field. Unfortunately, by that time the week is over, and we can't get some of that stuff on the air for fans to know about. So that's why it's important to listen to those pregame shows, because that's when you learn some of that stuff.
Yeah, and you'd have to imagine at least the challenges there, or how much of a challenge is there, Mike, for them to prepare for multiple quarterbacks, or at least prepare for Dalton, thinking he would have been the quarterback, or maybe they were preparing for both. But now having Bryce Young as maybe a late addition, now having to prepare for what he can do, because it's really different than Dalton, would be a challenge, I would think, for the coaching staff.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting what LaFleur said yesterday afternoon. He said, when you look at their quarterback and his progress, that Bryce Young was up and down and really struggling. And then he had that great second half against who? The Green Bay Packers. And that came a couple years ago out there in Carolina. And so that's when he seems to have settled down. I also think that, the new coaching staff in there is much better and highly regarded. And I've also got two friends, one that was in the media, one that's now working for the front office, that just got hired by the Panthers within the last year. And so they just talk about just a complete, attitude change. And I think that's it. You know what? And the things I've heard about it right now, the Carolina Panthers remind me of a young, going back to the Holmgren era, Seahawks. Like this is, they've got a group in there now that's going to be smarter. We're starting with the draft process, with the coaching process, everything about the franchise.
Mike, we laugh about it all the time. These owners come in, they're billionaires. They've never lost in anything. And all of a sudden they're like, wait, I can't just buy wins. This isn't nice. I don't like this. And there's a learning process to it. And I do think Carolina is going to get there sooner rather than later. Before we continue on here, and I am remiss to not start with last week, your question and conversation back and forth with Aaron Rodgers,
awesome.
And how much he and his relationship in Green Bay and how much he grew up in Green Bay and the fun that he had there. One, did you know that you were going to get that kind of wistful answer from Aaron when you asked him during the availability last week? And does it ever surprise you as to how just easily he is and open he is to going back into the memory vault and talking very, very glowingly about some of those days?
How much time we got? That's a whole chapter, that whole thing. So I'll try and get right to it. All right. First of all, there was Matt Schneidman and guys that you worked with. They were planning on flying out to Pittsburgh and doing a one-on-one with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then before the game Sunday night, then we talked to folks in the Steelers front office, and we said, "So how's it going with him?" He goes, "No, he does what we ask him to do. He keeps it online, but he's challenging. Like, for example, first it was a big game for us too, and he's got plenty of meetings, football meetings he's got to go to. And at some point, the Steelers said, we've got so many requests. And by the way, we're on NBC this week, and that always means a heightened amount of media activity. You know that, Billy, from your time up here during prep, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So they went to him and they said, "How about this? If we did a Zoom call, all these national guys, the guys in Wisconsin, that are all legit, we could get them on a Zoom call and take those questions." And he goes, "Why would I do that? Convince me of that." Which that's typical Aaron, right?
Yes.
And so the guy, well, here's why, 2 or 3 different reasons why. And Aaron said, "Okay, yeah, all right." So, that's the way he challenges people. Other people call that him being a jerk, but no, that's the perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
So then he comes on. Now, when we found out, hey, there's going to be a Zoom, hey, and some people didn't know about it, others got in. But, our circle of guys that are the beat reporters, they were they don't never do this, but they're like, "I think I'm going to ask them about this. Did you want to write about that?" So some of those guys, I was just letting the writers type that out. So I thought, okay, that leaves me with, let's see, what does a fan want to know? Well, most fans I talk to at the coffee shop say, "Yeah, who's he married to?"
Personal stuff.
What's the name of the
Absolutely.
wife?
Yep, absolutely.
And look, I've known him since 2005. I'm the only guy left here that can ask him that question. Really? And I thought about going with that, but then, and at the last second, though, as people were being called, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to get called in between the guys from ESPN and NBC and blah, 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 I just thought, here's this one other stupid thing that I've always thought of. About 5 years ago, I think it's right after they had lost to the Buccaneers and Tom Brady, but some of these guys were still hanging around in town. And a woman was driving down McCarthy Way next to the Hudson Center, turning onto Oneida, and there was this big red pickup truck. And here's some Yahoo sitting in the back of the pickup truck in January with a winter cap pulled over his head, surrounded by stacks of beer, and he held the beer up and over his head. And you zoomed in, and it's Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of the National Football League, riding the back of a pickup truck. So, and when in between all the questions of, is this a revenge game? How important is this for you to get the Steelers to the Super Bowl? Do you think you'll continue? I just said, hey, why were you in the back of a pickup truck holding up some beer?
Yes.
And see, that's the relationship I have. That's what we used to talk about on Fridays.
Yes.
Not for air, just getting to know him. And that's why he went off and started talking about. He started talking about when they were on plane flights that that he was, they would have these rolled up tight blankets that were almost like the size of footballs, right, on an airline. And as they were landing, they started whipping those things and hitting people in the back of the heads with them.
Love it. Great stories.
Larry McCarron had to put up with that,
Yeah.
right? So he started going in. But you know what was funny about this, Armin and Bill, was that he said, he says, yeah, that was a fun group, tight-knit group. And he mentioned Graham Harrell, the backup coach who's now a coach down in Texas. He mentioned Matt Flynn. He mentioned Sitton. He mentioned TJ. He even mentioned TJ Lang. And I said, he just told us the same thing that Favre talked about around 02, 03. I'm on my third generation roster, and it's getting harder and harder for me to relate to these guys. And so that's why he goes into the darkness retreat and moves on and decides, I still want to play. I got to do it someplace else.
Mike, that is so
Great
perfect
stuff.
because when you say that, I heard the exact same answer, and I don't know if you did, or the same sentiment after the game when somebody asked him about all the interactions he had during the game and during the post game. He's like, well, I did most of it before the game. And most of it was the support staff or the PR guys, and listed off, Tom and Nate and all of these and everybody that's in the medical room and the equipment room. And it was that
Evan, the team photographer who worked for the Press Gazette and then got hired by the team.
Yes.
There's people that he hangs around that are interesting, and they talk about movies. They talk about series that they're watching together. They talk about experiences. Where did you travel this year? And what book did you read? That's what he's looking for.
And Mike, you had and some people don't know this, and again, this is a peek behind the curtain. When Mike was advocating long ago he said 0506 was like, hey, this guy who's the backup quarterback who's going to be the future of the organization and might be the best player the organization ever sees, we should get him on the radio show.
Yeah,
we could get him on weekly. And I don't know if you knew Mike then how inquisitive and how interesting with a microphone in front of him he would have been, but goodness gracious, do I wish that program director would have listened to you back in the day, because oh my God, that conversation, you mentioned this, the relationships, he is so thoughtful and fun to listen to that you saw it long ago that he was going to be one of the most interesting guys in the sport.
I caught up with that program director at a reunion a couple of years ago, and he's selling insurance and doing very well in that. So how about that?
Yeah, shocker there. Yeah, shocker how that happened.
Yeah. No longer in showbiz, you know what I'm saying?
Mike Clemens is one of the absolute greatest. He is an NFL reporter for Sirius XM. Mike, we would be remiss to not ask you about the team, though, that we're actually watching, the quarterback that we're watching now. I think it's the best game he's ever played as a Packer. Now, the Dallas playoff game is going to be a tough one to beat because of the stakes, but he throws for more yards, 360, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 20 consecutive completions. I don't know we've seen Jordan as confident and as in control as he appears to be right now.
Billy, it's just before the third quarter. He's at about the 40-yard line or so. I got the binoculars on him. They're down by a tick, like 4 points or something like that. The Steeler fans are just nuts. That place is loud. Mm-hmm. That place is really loud. And later they were going to try and play Renegade, try to get things going.
Sure.
And they because that's what they played, Renegade by the Sticks, when they need that moment for things to turn around. And they're rolling their terrible towels. I got the binoculars on Jordan. He's in, I think it's the second down, and he's in shotgun. And the next thing you know is that he's looking around. He's got Christian Watson wide right. And then I see him in motion, tap the helmet like he's obviously changing the play. I'm like, well, dude, let's go. Because there's a couple times this season LaFleur's had to call a timeout to save them from a delay of game penalty. I drop the binoculars and I look at the game clock at the north end, and he's still got 13 seconds left. Wow. And then he takes 12, 11. He settles down. His offense is not jumpy. They're in it, in the moment, in a silent count. And he lets that thing go down, and he looks back to Christian. He drops back. He takes that ball. He rolls out to the right. And then he throws this unbelievable ball that, almost kind of like Favre, like that goes up and over and down like a missile. And just beyond a corner and a safety is in the front, a 33-yard gain that gets them to the 3-yard line. Then they wait. They change the end of the field because it ends up being the start of the fourth quarter. Josh Jacobs, of course, is able to get in for 3 yards, and they go ahead. I mean, that's the play. That's a quarterback, man, using the clock, changing the play. Christian Watson told me after the game he changed the play twice during that cadence, changed it twice from what he was seeing, and then make that athletic throw, connects. And it's like LaFleur said yesterday, he was in the zone. He was in the zone. But that's what Brian Goodikins saw at Utah State. That's why they picked this dude.
Yeah.
They also love Jordan Love because one of the things that they thought about when you think about the power of Favre and how the rocket arm and the guts, but all the interceptions. When you think of Aaron Rodgers, who I'll do anything but throw an interception, to the point where I probably should have taken some chances, along the way in games, especially big games. And then there's Jordan Love, who is kind of a little bit of a mix of the both. But the thing about it is that the way he stands and his height, the ball always, even when he's on the run, the ball comes out really high, which is less chance for it to be blocked or tipped. And that's one of the things that Goody talked about when he picked this kid, what his natural ability could be if he continues to grow. And I'd say after that Steelers game, he's on progress of being a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great point. The offense has been he's been driving the offense. They've been doing their thing. Jordan's had a great start. The running game is still trying to find its footing, Mike, especially with Josh Jacobs. You think that's a matter of time before it comes? Is that to do with consistency up front in the O-line? Is Jacobs 100% healthy? Was there anything else there?
Yeah, it's a calf injury, and it's amazing what he did the week before, considering that. But obviously, he was limited in the Steelers game because it was bothering him all last week during practice. I said this during training camp. Emmanuel Olson's a nice kid, but he's undrafted. I mean, you're stealing there. And of course, they've got this Marshawn Lloyd, who they drafted, and who had spurts. But we haven't seen him since the Indianapolis game.
Yeah,
the Colts preseason game, and it's a hamstring, and he's not coming back anytime soon. Was the word yesterday? So they were short. I felt at who's the number 2 running back, and they moved on from A.J. Dillon, fine, but hey, who knows? Maybe if they do something before the trade deadline, it's to get a better running back. Chris Brooks is serviceable, but he's not a talent. He's not a guy that if Josh Jacobs misses 4 weeks, you can carry yourself into the playoffs that way. The other thing though is the offensive line. They've not had a healthy offensive line. And even what I thought was great was that when Zach Tom got stepped on by Jordan Morgan and was down on the field for a while, and of course all the injuries he's had since the Browns game or before that, that Kennard came in, and what does Jordan Love do? Comes to the line of scrimmage, quick snap. So before T.J. Watt can even come in and breathe in down with his replacement right tackle, Kennard gets the ball out of his hand on a quick slant, 24-yard touchdown to T.J. Kraft. So, that's the way the quarterback compensated for oh, God, I just missed Zach Tom. Let's do this. And ends up turning it into a touchdown instead of a sack.
It's incredible to see how much poise he's playing with right now and being able to get them in and out of good and bad situations. I thought you saw the mental stuff, Mike, really take off last year, back half of the year, understanding that he had to overcompensate a tick with the injury. And Jordan's just playing some phenomenal football. Mike, you're phenomenal. I can't thank you enough for hopping on with us this morning, waking up with us. Now, granted, I know the Bay Motel and the family restaurant might be closed. You can grab some of those blueberry pancakes and enjoy them for me, because that place is just one of the greatest spots of all time. Enjoy practice here today. And once again, to a radio friend, thanks for waking up with us today, Mike Clemens.
Billy Armin, thank you, pal. Appreciate that.
You're the man. There's Mike Clemens hanging out with us here of Sirius XM Radio. Sirius XM NFL reporter, has covered the Green Bay Packers for so long. I've gotten to work with him a number of different places, and one of the absolute best stewards of this business.
That's a great way to look at it, Billy. A great way to say it. It's true. You know him better than me, but he's one of those guys that everyone feels like they know because he makes you feel that way. And he's an absolute treasure, and he's right. He's got the longevity with the stories and things. He's a treasure. We got to protect him.
There's times where you think, and people will say, "Hey, you're really working a lot. You're really doing a lot of shows." People don't understand this. There is not one human being that I've ever encountered in this business that sleeps less and works harder than Mike Clemens.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I mean, he is an absolute grinder, and he's one of the greatest to do it. And I can't thank him enough for hopping on with us here today. Also provided me some of my greatest laughs in this business.
Oh, he's going to give you so much entertainment. I mean, we could have sat here and listened to him tell us those stories forever.
But then when he rips a joke and you aren't expecting it, and you're like, hold on, you said Lil' Kim? Like, he's an absolute icon. One of my favorite dudes in the world, and appreciate him for hopping on with us here today. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. We're going to hit a parlay of the day on the other side at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And there's we're talking about the big game for the green and gold coming up this weekend. A huge game in the NFL, and one tonight that might be an elimination game. We'll discuss the one in South Florida kicking off later on in Thursday Night Football. It's No BS with Billy and Sarian of the game.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment.
Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
September of 77, American duo Steely Dan released their sixth album, Asia. It goes to number 3 in the States on the strength of 2 top 20 hits, Peg and Deacon Blues. In October, the major label debut album by Meatloaf is released. Hits number 14 in the U.S. and goes on to be one of the best-selling albums of all time. Leonard Skinner released the album Street Survivor. 3 days later, singer Ronnie Van Zant and 2 other band members are killed in a plane crash. The album goes to number 5 in the States, and the single What's Your Name hits number 13.
What's your name, little girl? What's your name?
In November, Eric Clapton's Slow Hand is released. It goes to number 2, driven by 3 hit singles, Cocaine, Wonderful Tonight, and Lay Down Sally.
Lay down, Sally, and rest here in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to?
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest every night at 6.
Well, listen to this. Fucking bet better. How's that?
On Fox Sports 920.
A shark took her arm, but not her teenage desire to be a surfing champ. So next time life puts a little fear in you, just think of Bethany Hamilton hanging 10 on top of a heavy wave. That's real courage. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
iHeartRadio, soundtrack, flashback.
A basket case, a jock, a brain, and everyone in between. The John Hughes classic Breakfast Club dropped in 1985, and its soundtrack gave us this #1 hit by Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me.
Don't you forget about me. Don't.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Packers fans need to know that 95.7 Big FM is the new Milwaukee home for all of the Packers game day action.
The Packers are back home Sunday to play the Panthers. Pre-game show starts at 8 with a noon kickoff from Lambeau.
When the Packers play, hear it all on 95.7 Big FM.
When Americans volunteer to serve their country promises to take care of them when they come home. Paralyzed Veterans of America works with veterans and their families to make sure they get all that they were promised. You can help. Visit pva.org.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a #1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the #4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to #9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to #12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the #1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of '75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to #1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fear. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up.
In the air, they score! The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound, stop tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Classic Cuts.
Rock and roll may be a young person's music, but it's never really too late to make it in the business. Bob Seger was a late bloomer, which is the thought behind his song, Against the Wind.
I felt like I made it so late in life. But when I was 35, I had the feeling it could have ended any minute. You know, this is unusual. I'm older now and still running against the wind.
Classic Cuts.
If you really want to support our troops, just contact the USO.
You can't believe how much they do for us.
To find out how you can help, visit us at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Hey, blue on black, tears on the river, push on the shove, it don't mean much. Joker on Jack, match on a fire, cold on ice.
Can't thank Mike Clemens for hanging out with us enough. Could talk Packers football and history of the Green Bay Packers with him for just hours upon hours. Packers going to embrace some of their history this week as they celebrate the leather helmet era, 1923 throwbacks, bringing the leather helmet to life. They just put together a sweet video package of it on their social channels, and it looks even cooler in person. I'm very excited to see how it plays on television as well, because listen, when I heard Krista Jurgensen tell and explain just how long it took them to be able to put this together and get it to actually work, like they had so many different sends into different departments to try to get it cleared, and there were 2.5-3 year process, she made it sound as to get this clear, to be able to get it right, and every single one of them meet all the health and regulation standpoint. So it's been a labor of love to get this one going, and I'm very excited to be able to see it coming up this weekend. And it's listen, all games are big. Any game you get at home is going to be a big one to have.
Yeah.
But a conference game in an NFC that feels like it's going to be very, very tightly contested.
It will be
for the top 6 seeds, Armin, and everybody might finish within a game or two of each other. You cannot allow yourself to slip up on any of these rakes. You can't step on any of these games.
No, that's part of the allure of the NFL. Part of the strength of the league and the popularity of it is that every game is so important. And there's really no other sport like that anymore. College football was sort of at that level, but now with the expanded playoff, it's not as much, I would say.
Sure. Yeah.
So where every game is, but every game in the NFL is very important because, yeah, with playoff spots, with the way it works, things can vacillate very quickly. I mean, you're the Packers and you're at 5-1-1. And that's great. You're the number 1 seed right now in the NFC if everything ended today. But you lose one game, you're all of a sudden fighting for a wild card spot. I mean, things do change and they can change quickly. So every game is important, Billy. It's as important to not have as many missteps in a league that can be as week to week and margins can be so thin as any other sport. It's hard to not have any missteps. And I would say people would look at Carolina as one of those games if they had lost it. The problem is, Billy, as you know, it's not always so easy in the NFL. And Carolina is a team that's much better than we think. They're going to be getting Bryce Young now, it looks like, and that's something that we didn't expect 48 hours ago. So this game has taken on a different meaning. So the term trap game gets thrown a lot. It gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
If you're a Packer fan, every game now they play.
Every game's a trap game.
This is a trap game. I understand why people are saying it, this and that. We've talked about the noon thing with Aaron Nagler. Could it be a sleepy thing? That's the thing about the NFL, Billy. You can be totally prepared. You can be focused. You cannot, you can say, honestly, sometimes we didn't let it sneak up on us and still be in a dogfight in the game because there are really good players on both sides of it. You got a guy as talented, Bryce Young.
1,000%.
And this is a 4-4 team. They've won 4 games in the NFL this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is not a terrible Carolina team. So I don't expect any game in this league to be easy. I know we'd like to walk in and think the Packers will win 55-0. I don't think that'll happen. They could win this game going away. It could be a great day. It could be our best, but it could also be a dogfight. So I think you're going to each game looking to play your best and try and win the game at the end.
None of Bryce Young's numbers scream like top 10 or 15 quarterback in football, but for the majority of the first 2 years of his career, all it screamed was massive bust. And he was a guy that gets drafted 1 when CJ Stroud goes 2. Jury can kind of be out on CJ Stroud, not nearly as high flying of an expectation and love affair with him as it was as a rookie. But it kind of sounded like when all indications came out that Dave Tepper, the owner of the team who had just purchased the team, said, I like that kid from Alabama. We're drafting him.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. We're doing it.
I don't care what any of you guys are saying. We're drafting him and he's going to be our quarterback. And not surprisingly so, the progress was tough. He's a young guy. He's a small guy, and they don't protect him at all. Now, they've definitely started to. Their offensive line is young, and it is emerging. It's a good unit, and they're getting better, and it's one of the reasons why he's been able to put together some better games on tape. But they also are, they are the Carolina Panthers. It does feel difficult to say when they have won 4 games because you're right, but they've also beaten the likes of the Atlanta Falcons, who nobody has any idea of what they are.
No,
the Miami Dolphins, who are going to play tonight, they're 2-5 and could be 0-7.
Yeah.
The Jets in a 13-6 barn burner.
Booty cheeks. Yeah.
But they also beat the Dallas Cowboys, something you couldn't do.
I guess, that's a good point. Now, also for me, Billy, if you remember 2023 when a 2-12 Carolina team on Christmas Eve gave you all kinds of problems. I don't know what
you can handle.
I don't remember what the line was. Now this was the Packers were 6-8, I think, going into that game. Just lost to the Giants, the DeVito game. Just lost to Baker at home when he went off. He didn't know what he was going to become yet.
Mm-hmm.
And now eventually that was the start of them turning around those last 3 games, making the playoffs, having that kind of generational Jordan Love run. But they gave our defense work. Bryce Young gave our defense work that day, and the Packers escaped with a 3-point win. That was a difficult day. And that was a Panthers team and a young Bryce Young that nobody was giving anybody a chance at that point. There were, I remember coming out of that game with a lot of questions about the defense, things like that. But it was still a win. It was just, you remember it wasn't so easy against the Panthers just 2 years ago on Christmas Eve. So, to expect anything to be easy in this league is a fool's errand, I think. I think the Packers are the better team, but you have to go out and prove it come Sunday.
It's all you can do is go and prove it on the field, and they'll try to do that coming up this weekend. Later on tonight should be an interesting game, to say the least. Lamar Jackson going to return for the Baltimore Ravens. They desperately need him. But when you look at Baltimore, Armin, I think everybody says, okay, well, 2-5, they're about cooked. John Harbaugh probably going to get fired. They're going to finish, second or third in the division and, maybe miss the playoffs all told. Not so fast, my friend. They play the Miami Dolphins here tonight. They get a long break, a little mini bye week. Then they go take on the Minnesota Vikings, who are going to start J.J. McCarthy this week, and God bless them. I'm excited to see it. I'm very, very excited to see how J.J. looks this weekend. I'll tell you this, I'm not expecting much. Maybe I should be expecting more for the Vikings second-year quarterback in his 3rd career start, but he's played 6 quarters. Only one of them has been good.
Yeah,
so
and he won a big award for that quarter.
And he was the Offensive Player of the Week for it. So I'm excited to see how that works, but they go to the Dolphins, to the Vikings, to the Browns. Then they host the Jets, host the Bengals, host the Steelers at the Bengals. That is a feastable slate of the schedule.
They're right there.
They're right in the mix of it. And they get a game against the team that's going to be ahead of them in Pittsburgh. They're, 2.5 games, 2 games back of Pittsburgh, but they'll get to bounce Cincinnati if they can beat them in both of those games. There's a reason why Baltimore is one of still the betting favorites to win their division, even though they're 2 games back and currently 2-5. Tonight's one of those games that I think everybody's anticipating. Baltimore goes and rolls as 7.5-point favorites and gets themselves kind of back on track with Lamar back under center.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe that's a fool's errand. I'm not really sure, but it sure seems like they have opportunities still to salvage this situation and definitely turn it around. Now, the Dolphins surprised me last week. With what they did. I'm not expecting them to do it again. And the JJ McCarthy situation in Minnesota has been one of the more mystifying situations. We don't, the injury, he's coming back. Now Wentz is out. How good is he? We don't think he's good, but we also still don't know. I think it's fair to say we don't really know how good JJ McCarthy can be. So I expect them to have a terrible time of it, but I also don't know what to expect sometimes with Kevin O'Connell because he has the ability to coach guys up, and maybe McCarthy's healthier now. Maybe he wasn't really hurt. Maybe he needed to sit for a while. There's a lot of mystifying things around that. So there's still an unknown there, Billy. But
when I saw JJ McCarthy do the leap away from Justin Jefferson and in the same motion signal first down with the double guns,
sure,
it was like, yeah, I think he can play. Like, I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong.
Right.
It wasn't that great of an athletic move. Pretty quick twitch for a guy with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, if that's the case or not, why did they sit him? Why did they go with Wentz? Do they not believe in him? He did seem like he had a pretty good moment there and against the Bears. So I don't know what's going on there. It's a mystifying situation, but it'll unfold in front of us.
One of the toughest parts of it is, Armin, when you're JJ McCarthy, you have to develop and you have to play in the NFL. But when your team is built to win and they question if you can contribute to it, like, I get where the back and forth and the hesitation to throw him right back out there would be. But on the other hand, like, God bless Max Brosmer and his family. If Max Brosmer is going to be better than JJ McCarthy, everybody in the organization needs to be fired.
Yes.
Right? Like, I mean, that's how it goes.
And if you couldn't figure that out and we assume you pass on Aaron Rodgers for this guy, that's the thing I don't get.
Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones.
Really weird.
So I struggle to think that McCarthy sucks. I really do. Because I saw too much of him at Michigan.
I agree. Okay.
I've seen way too much of his play so far in his young career. That's really, really positive. Does a lot of really good things well. The other nerdy football guy stuff, the way the team reacts to JJ McCarthy, that kind of stuff matters. I mean, people, even though he's spiking balls to Justin Jefferson, best receiver in football at the time, there's a reason why JJ McCarthy still had the belief from Justin Jefferson. That means a little bit. But damn, you got to be able to prove it a little bit at some particular point sooner rather than later.
Sure.
And he's working on some borrowed time, but they're going to have to throw him back out there, I would assume, this week. And not an easy place to go get back into the lineup, travel to Ford Field and take on the Detroit Lions, who just gave Aiden Hutchinson $141 million.
And that's a team, you have to put up points. The only struggle they had offensively was against us in week 1. That's a team if you're going to beat, you have to put up points.
Yes.
So there's a little pressure there as an offensive player, as a quarterback, obviously going into a situation like that. That's not the easiest place to it's not a chicken soup game, as we say.
Tough environment, no doubt about it. And that'll be a loud house at Ford Field. No doubt about it. Curtin Grafton said, JJ, gonna crap the bed.
I'd like to see that.
Kurt,
That's what I'm hoping for.
I love that.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of that, and hopefully you are right. He also said kind of crappy to be playing Philadelphia off their bye. And listen, line them up and put 60 on the clock and see what happens. Because that Monday night game coming up in a week and a half, super anticipated. I can't wait for it, but got to get through this one.
Yeah.
We can look ahead, Armin. The football team can't.
Love that.
I don't think the football team is. I definitely think fans are.
That's what we do as fans.
I definitely think Packers fans are, no doubt about it. We look ahead to the other side of a quick timeout. We'll hit a parlay of the day and wrap things up here on No BS statewide on the game.
You're so hypnotizing. Could you be the devil? Could you be an angel? Whatever it takes.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game. Don't miss DND middays here on the Game.
You can't go back in time, but when the hiring happened, it was universally hailed as a coup. Wisconsin got a coup. They got the best coach available. They got the best coach who wasn't even available. They got the best coach in the country. He was the AP National Coach of the Year, the reigning AP National Coach of the Year. He had just gotten Cincinnati from a group of 5 conference into the college football playoff before it had expanded. It's easy now to go back on it and say it was a mistake. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But at the time is the only time that you can make that decision. We don't live in a world where you can go back in Marty McFly's DeLorean and go back and change things. That's not how the time continuum works. But what you can do is change the course of history moving forward, however that may be. It's easy to go back and say, you know what, that decision should have been different and you screwed that up. But when the whole world is telling you that it's the right decision and that it's a home run, that it's a grand slam, that anyone else would do it, I just can't get on board with people saying that McIntosh should be hammered for hiring him in the first place.
DND with Doug, Nick, and Dave. Middays here on the Game.
Classic Cuts.
In the mid-1970s, Fleetwood Mac seemed to have hit the end of its road. On the advice of their producer, they decided to take a chance on 2 little-known musicians, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Christine McVie tells us about Over My Head, the first hit off the new lineup's debut album.
That was written about a guy who shall not be named because he's quite well known. It was one of the first songs we did on the White Fleetwood Mac album, and it was the least developed song of all. And we knew it needed something. We played it, and I wasn't too crazy about it at all until a brainstorm happened, and I said, "Why don't we get in like a cheap Farfisa or a Vox Continental or something?" Lo and behold, that's exactly what it needed. It just tied all the other parts together, and then we started adding to it, and then I re-sung it, and it ended up being one of the first singles, I think.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
1989, Michael Keaton, the best Batman yet? You can decide later. For now, let's honor the incredible soundtrack from Tim Burton's 1989 film with the groovy Bat Dance by Prince.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Classic Cuts.
Fans of the Rolling Stones know how shrewd and smart guitarist Keith Richards can be. But when it comes to Satisfaction, his initial judgment of the song as nothing more than gimmicky filler was flat out wrong.
If I'd have had my way, it would never have come out. It just tripped off the end of my tongue one night, and we needed an extra track, and I'd gone through it, and it just didn't strike me as, I thought it was a little bit of a gimmick, the fuzz box, and the song was as basic as the hills, and I really hadn't grasped the rest of what Mick had done with it and what we'd done with it in the process, and I'd sort of written it off already as a filler track, and they wanted to do that single. I said, no way.
I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
Added to the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress in 2004, the thrilling John Williams score from the 1977 film Star Wars will live in our hearts and ears, just like midichlorians, forever.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
In the air, they score! The Admirals continue a 4-game homestand Friday night when they host the Cleveland Monsters at UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena. Rebound, stock tipped wide by O'Hara. Then Carr threw it to the goal, and he scores! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
The Brat Pack gave us a more mature version of themselves in 1985's St. Elmo's Fire. The soundtrack was also grown up, and the theme song reflected that. John Parr's St. Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion, sat on top of the charts for 2 weeks.
I can see a new horizon underneath the blazing sky. I'll be where the eagles flying higher.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Time now for Billy's Parlay of the Day, brought to you by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest.
Bet above the rest of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big and bet bold and enjoy an afternoon and evening of sports betting delight. Well, you can enjoy Potawatomi Casino Hotel as well. If you're coming down here for a little bit of hoops action, maybe tonight you're going to go to Warriors and Bucks.
Might see Luddy there.
You will see Luddy there today. He's going to be at the game. Credentialed though, so you might not be able to actually see him because he's going to be in cooler
I was going to say,
areas.
I don't know if Luddy's going to be walking around with the people.
All
cooler
access
areas
except
than
a couple of spots.
Yeah. That's right. All right.
Thick brag right there.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Wow. Here we go. Let's go.
I tried walking in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Never mind.
All right. That is a nice sick brag right there. I like that.
I love it.
A little bit better.
Yeah.
But listen, it's going to be a good time at Fiserv Forum tonight. Warriors and Bucks. And when Draymond Green comes to town, I know Armin Sarian's disdain gets a little bit heated up.
Dre's back in town. And
your most disliked individual in the NBA. Is that fair to say?
He annoys me. Yeah, he's up there. Him and
and Jordan Poole.
Oh, no doubt about
That
that.
would be in that
I would think
conversation. Yeah.
Draymond and Tyrese are up there, but Draymond was clowning somebody else the other day, and I saw our buddy Trey Crosby, one of the best fouls still. Say, at some point
New
someone's
Twitter,
just
by
got
the
to
way.
punch him in the face. It's like that's what he did.
might not be wrong.
I don't. He's just because he's going to keep talking either. But to me, he's going to talk either way. So either he's talking, and if I'm going to get in trouble for it, I wouldn't do it. But I get the temptation to do it. Trust me.
I know you've got to be feeling.
He's
you want to
annoying.
be able to get in there, no doubt about it. You're not a big fan of Draymond Green. However, he is going to be on the floor here tonight. So is Steph Curry with the rest of the Golden State Warriors as they bring their unique brand of basketball to the floor here tonight. They're 3-point favorites on the night. Miles Turner, 2+ threes, -143. Now, AJ Green knocking down 3 triples for us on Tuesday night was a big hit. Now, granted, those were the only 3 threes he hit, Armin. Even though I love being able to go right back to the well at +123, that feels like a pretty dang good number there for Armin.
I gotta feel like he's gonna have a big game. AJ Green. A friend of mine saw him shopping in the third ward with his wife at Anthropology.
Whoa!
Yeah, I got a friend
Good spot.
that works down there, and
3 threes for AJ Green.
she's like, so I saw working today. And I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. So there you go, AJ Green just chilling out, part of the city. So I think he's gonna be ready to hit some shots tonight. He's got a brand, some new clothes, new wardrobe, probably some new duds. Looking at new outfits, probably
Duds.
feeling
New
himself.
duds.
What's a
Like
dud?
milk duds?
Isn't that the term for new outfit duds?
No,
I got.
new fit.
Well, that's
Duds.
that's what the kids say now.
Yeah, never heard
Okay,
duds.
6'7", all that, but duds. You never heard that term, duds?
Well,
Fresh new duds?
dud on the actual dictionary says a thing that fails to work properly.
Well, yeah.
What are duds slang for? Dud is slang for something that fails to work or is unsuccessful. Misfiring firework, an box office dud. A person's belongings, clothing. Duds is slang for clothes or personal effects.
Yes,
The
I'm
example,
vindicated.
He needed to pack up his duds and move out, or she admired his fancy duds.
And I grab it.
Wow,
my
look
grandpa.
at you up with the kids, Armin
I'm
Sarian.
up with the grandpas, maybe, no doubt about it. But hey, feel good, look good, feel good, play good. So AJ
Urban
Green.
Dictionary, duds, clothes, pants or trousers.
Trousers, slack.
Put your
My
duds
ex who was
up,
from
man.
London called them
Your
trousers.
arse is showing.
We go shopping for some slacks for the school year. Yeah, Dad.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, man.
Also could be equated to, as it says here on the Urban Dictionary, not hard male pectorals, otherwise known as man boobs.
What?
Otherwise known as man boobs.
Never heard
That's
that.
what would be.
I feel
brazier,
attacked.
a brosier.
I'm really, really glad that we stumbled upon that in the middle of this parlay of the day. This parlay of the day, not going to be a thud. AJ Green, 3+ threes.
Boom.
Lamar Jackson, South Florida guy, returns to South Florida tonight and returns to the Baltimore Ravens roster. South Beach High School, I believe, is where Lamar Jackson went to school.
Okay.
He puts on in Miami. Give me over 225 passing yards for Lamar Jackson. Out of the games that the Dolphins have already played so far this year, as they sit 2-6, 5 different times, 5 of the 8 quarterbacks hit that mark of 200+ passing yards. Now, last week it was Kirk Cousins going 21 of 31 for $173. bigger night here tonight for Lamar Jackson, rested, rejuvenated, and ready to ball. And player specials, we've talked about this a number of different times. Just set it and forget it. Giannis over 50 points, rebounds, assists tonight. Makes it an even plus 545 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
He comes out on it, as we once heard from Dontavian Wicks on Packers OT.
I come out on it.
So let's go. I like that one, Billy. I like this one. Sounds like a winner.
Another
Feels like
night against a high-profile team. I anticipate Giannis and the Bucks play well here tonight. I expect it's going to be a fun crowd here tonight. Golden State is a good team. That's always one that people are going to be excited to go out and see.
Of course, Billy. Should be a lot of fun in the mill. Ryan and Muskego, gentlemen, another fantastic show today. That was definitely some blue collar type stuff there. See, Armin, now you know what it's like to be blue collar. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It does.
Feel good, don't it? Look at you being a blue collar guy.
That's me. Yeah,
You're
my-
actually
my
getting
quarter zip blue collar, but yeah,
That's fair.
You know,
You might have a
close,
white
kind
collar underneath that quarter zip, but I think we can get you a blue one.
Maybe so. I like that. I feel like that. I feel like a blue collar guy.
Well, don't let it get to your head because we need to finish out strong tomorrow.
Yes, let's do it.
Thanks to Matt LePay, Mike Clemens, and Matt Miller for joining us. Luddy, phenomenal job on the other side. We'll do it again tomorrow. For Armin Sari and I'm Billy Schmidt, it's been No BS right here on The Game.